What's up? What's happening? What is going on, folks? It's a drop-dead, gorgeous, beautiful night here in Daytona Beach, Florida, as we welcome you to the Daytona International Speedway for the 2023 running of the Mike's Hard Lemonade 2.4 Hours of Daytona. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, lads of all ages, as we once again welcome you to the track with live coverage on the North American Sim Racing Network. And from high in the sky in the press box, my name is Trey Ray for the NESRN, and alongside me is my good friend Alex Graham from AG The Channel.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. This is going to be a great race. I remember trying to do this about 5 years ago. The game crashed out. We'll get on that today, but definitely excited to see how this race plays out. The two classes, and they're going to get in the way of each other at times, so we're going to have a very entertaining night here. Close to the real life Roller Coaster 24 coming up. We've got our little one here at 10 to the lane.
Indeed, 2 hours and 24 minutes are on the docket for tonight's race at the World Center of Racing. The Daytona road course layout of the World Center of Racing, a grueling 3.564 mile racing facility here at Daytona Beach. And Alex, is bound to be a good one for the fourth installment of this event. So what a tradition we started back in 2018 with the Napa 2.4 Hours of Daytona in the NRLOA Kubota Sports Car Championship. We were talking before this how it's funny that the NRLOA is still around while the NOFSRL kind of died out.
Yeah, well, it's great that this race is still going on. Obviously, you took the reins of it a couple of years ago, and I tried it 1 year and gave up on it. But like I said, it's great that this race continues on. Obviously we got the Indy 250 over on my channel, and a lot of people do a Daytona 500, but this is one of the only 2.4 hours at Daytona or anything similar to the Rolex 24 that at least I know of in NR2003. So definitely a great way to start off the motorsports season, the NR season here for 2023. A lot of great things coming up this year, and what a race to start off with too. Almost 2.5 hours here at the Daytona road course, and a lot of great drivers to kick it all off. Definitely a preview of what we're going to see, the kind of action we'll see across all of NR in 2023.
Yeah, and once again, it's going to be a great year for this great game, and NR is turning 20 years old, so how about that a game that is almost as old as I am is still kicking and screaming here to this day. As always, we have two different sets of classes of racing here in the Daytona 2.4. The faster GTLM made up of Chevy Corvettes and Jaguar XKRs, and the slower but still as exciting GT Daytonas filled with Dodge Vipers and Ford Mustangs. 21 cars make up each class, and Alex, this race is a bit of everything, including 3 to 4 sets of pit stops, and making a good strategy call could be the almighty coup de grace and ending up in Gatorade Victory Lane.
Absolutely. It's 89 laps, so we say, 2.4 hours, but it is a set number of laps for this race. Got a 25 to 30 lap fuel run, so depending on how things go for some of these guys, we could see 3 stops. We may see a 4th stop, maybe, if things go a little bit longer. But regardless of the fact, that's going to really come into effect on who gets the race victory. If you have a good call in the pit lane, a good strategy, that could easily win you the race here after 2.5 hours here at the Daytona International Speedway.
And you really can't forget about surviving out there in traffic and in the race itself, especially at the start. We've seen in years past how drivers can end their night in the S's on the first lap, or just anywhere on the track in the first lap. There is nowhere to hide, nowhere to run here at the Daytona road course, and not to mention staying out of trouble once the field gets jumbled up and clogged up with pit stops and other incidences. Those Daytona cars are going to be in the way of the Le Mans cars, and we've seen in years past those Daytonas or damaged cars, lap cars in general, just really causing issues for faster cars. I'll tell you something, Alex, this type of racing is not for the weak-minded.
No, not at all. You have to definitely be on your toes, and like I said, it's a long race. You don't see many NR races that go this long, but if you can stay in it to the end, you have a chance of winning, and it'll be a race of attrition, no doubt about it, considering how long the race is. But if your car is still in one piece at the end, you may just well end up in Gatorade Victory Lane at the end of the night.
And we'll get into the finer details later on in the race, but it's now time for the moment you've all been waiting for. That time of the broadcast again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go down trackside to get the most famous words in motorsports to kick off the Mike's Hard Lemonade 2.4 Hours of Daytona.
Drivers, start your engines!
The engines roar to life on the pit lane here in Daytona Beach, and we were just moments away from dropping the green flag for tonight's race. Your starting lineup for both classes is on the left-hand side of your screen. Zachary Fitzwater is on the pole for GTLM in the number 59 Corvette, his third time starting on the pole for this event. Alongside him is Reggie Fogelman in the number 56 Jaguar. The Jags are winless in this event so far, with Corvette taking home the titles in 2018, 2021, and 2022. And speaking of which, there's Micah Knapp, the only defending champion of GTLM, returning tonight. He starts 10th in the class.
Yeah, definitely great to see Micah in this event. Of course, won that shortened race that we did back in 2018. A great friend of mine, and honestly, anyone in this GTLM class can win 89 laps. I know it's a 21-car field, and we don't see many passing on the road course, but it's a very good opportunity. Mike Knapp to go back to victory lane here tonight. Definitely a great road course racer, and he could definitely show a lot of strength in this one here. And 89 laps.
And GT Daytona is led to the green by Roberto Crown Jr. in the 21 Ford Mustang. He actually out-qualified a good half of the GT Le Mans field, so an absolute flying lap for that GT Daytona car. That gives him a huge advantage on the start. The next closest Daytona is Eric Monaco in the number 60 Dodge Viper. And the only returning champion of GT Daytona, John Stewart, starts 4th in the class in that bright red number 75 Mustang.
Yeah, great to see John Stewart back. Development driver to Josh Williamson. Of course, he ran, I think he may have ran this race back in the day. I can't really remember, but definitely great to see John Stewart back. You know, a very solid driver, and we'll have to see what he can do there in the GT Daytona class. But a very good field in GT Daytona. I mean, you mentioned Roberto Crown Jr. there, a very strong driver. Ryan Arani's in this class. Owen Miles, Brad Stover, a few of the names that are very heavy hitters over on my side. So definitely excited to see what they can do. Madison Toll as well. I would definitely watch out for her. She drives in a lot of these big events as one offset. She might have a shot in that number 25 GT Daytona.
And as the field rolls through the bus stop, let's go ahead and take a look at your race analysis at the bottom left-hand side of your screen. It's a 2-hour and 24-minute race, so roughly 89 laps, like you said, here this evening. Your pit window for both classes is between 25 and 30 laps. Taking a look at the track itself, it's 12 different corners, with danger zones being at turns 1 and 2, the Western Horseshoe at turn 5, and the infamous bus stop on the back straightaway. So Alex, quickly as the field rolls through NASCAR turns 3 and 4, who's your pick to win here in both classes?
Stapleton sweep right here. Nathan Stapleton, watch out for him in the number 7. They're starting 3rd, and then Madison Call and GT Daytona 025. His girlfriend, they're going to sweep the classes here in this race.
All in the bright blue number 25 CarQuest Dodge Viper in the back for GT Daytona, but Zachary Fitzwater, Reggie Fogelman will see the green flag wave in the air in just a couple of moments, and there it is, 2.4 hours. The clock starts now. And the field entering the in and out, and this is where things can get hairy. Stapleton jumping already to the inside of Fitzwater. Fogelman will go wide, but here they go through the S's. This is where things can get jumbled up. Micah Knapp hits the inside wall, and now we got some contact in the back. It's the 88 machine of Max Davis. He's being pushed by the 71 of Henry Wallace, and it looks like Brad Stover, your GT Daytona winner back in 2021, getting caught up in it as well, but everybody keeps it straight at the moment. But going back to the front of the field, it is a land rush towards the front, but Nathan Stapleton, with a bonsai move to the inside of Zachary Fitzwater in the first corner, is showing the way here early.
Yeah, definitely a great job there. I think Stapleton's got a lot under his plate. He's a very solid driver, but so is Fitzwater. I mean, Fitzwater's definitely a highly experienced vet, and he likes to tout himself as a very good road course racer. And interesting to see Fitzwater kind of make that mistake at the start of the race, but Stapleton took advantage of it. He's now leading this field in GTLM.
They go through the bus stop. We'll make sure there's no issues in here. Oh, the 84 going a little bit wide. That's Alex Lozano. Same with the 8 as, Owen Miles is going to hop the curbs over there. Fortunately, he's able to keep it going, as we have seen years past, especially on the first lap. Drivers struggling to keep composure of their automobiles. It looks like the 026, that's Dylan Matthews, holding up the field, and already the 031 of Carter Joey falling back. You see the 11, the 9, they were involved in that dust-up in the S's on the first lap. It's the 011 of Lyle Austin, the 009 of Emily Bull, it's the 88 of Max Davis. I believe those are the only 3 cars coming in for repairs. That's going to set them behind the 8 ball early, Alex.
Absolutely, but the good thing for them, it's an 89-lap race. A lot can happen from now to the finish, so they might have an extra pit stop kind of snuck in there. If things get crazy enough, they could be right back into this thing.
Absolutely. Stapleton currently leads. Behind him is Cole Raymond in the 20, and Fitzwater rounding out third. Single file right now throughout pretty much the entirety of GT Le Mans. Now going up to GT Daytona. Surprise, surprise, John Stewart leading the way. Eric Monaco behind him. Actually, no, check that. It's still Roberto Crown Jr. He's so far up with where he qualified that he is already in his own zip code with the Daytona cars. He is being passed by the Le Mans, so as the run goes on, watch out for him to not have as many picks behind him as he would like to have, but going through the bus stop, a couple of cars hitting the sausage curbs, but everybody getting through A-OK right now.
Yeah, they actually had a second on the field there. Roberto Crown Jr. did in GT Daytona over a second, so really good job in qualifying. But like you said, those Le Mans cars are going to be passing them pretty quick throughout this race here, and eventually you will see John Stewart kind of catch up, I feel like, because it's kind of hard to get good laps in when you keep on getting passed out there. John Stewart doesn't really have that to worry about at this point, so I think that GT Daytona class will kind of merge back together. But early on, everyone's kind of playing it safe at the moment. Had that one moment earlier on. I think it was Max Davis that went around, but it's been a pretty clean race so far. Good to see that.
Yeah, Crown Jr. last time by was 4 seconds behind almost 5 seconds behind Stapleton. Next closest competitor was a 75, so about a 4-second gap between Crown Jr. and John Stewart right now. But Eric Monaco, we know he's hungry in that 60 machine, right on the back bumper of that 075. But back to the front, a calm start to this event. Aside from the little dust-up in the S's, everybody's still remaining on the racetrack. But Carter Joey, we're hearing reports from the pit box that they might be down a cylinder. So he's quickly losing touch with the field, and especially on the oval layout of this track. Once you get out onto the track and start losing it in the draft, you're kind of SOL in that situation.
Yeah, it's a tough break there for him. You really can't go too fast here on these straightaways if you're down a cylinder. This is a very fast track. I mean, through the infield, it's not as much of a problem, but get a lot of speed there through the NASCAR sections of the racetrack, and it's going to really put him back if that continues to be a problem throughout the night.
Yeah, look at just the amount of ground that he lost on the back straightaway alone. Henry Wallace, who was involved in that little incident in the S's, he's got a little bit of damage in the 71, but he is flying past that 31 machine, or flying in front of that 31. We'll see what the difference is. There's Wallace, and now Carter Joey, he lost even more time. So Carter Joey with a mechanical issue early on, and unfortunately, unlike a flat tire, it's a cylinder. You can't fix that mid-race, so you just gotta either wait until that thing goes up in smoke or just ride around. But with about 89 laps in this event, that's a long time to ride around.
Stapleton there, the unconventional line into the international, or no, that's not the international, or the West Horseshoe there. I'm surprised that the 20 machine, Cole Raymond, didn't actually get an advantage on him there through that corner, but they keep it together. Cole Raymond, definitely want to mention him. He had a great season in the Haas IndyCar Series last year. First time on any of the series on the channel, and got the race victory at the Indianapolis road course. So another, oval road course, I guess you can say. So he may be able to pull it off in that Napa machine, and not Napa fan officially anymore, but I still gotta like the Napa colors. So great to see Cole Raymond run well on this one, and he may have a shot on Stapleton if Stapleton continues to make those types of mistakes.
It's a long night ahead of us, but nothing wrong with doing a little agricultural work in the beginning portions of this race. We all know and love Nathan Stapleton, just the wacky antics that he gets into over on his channel. But Cole Raymond had a fantastic entrance into turn 1 as we work on lap 5 of the 89 kind of roughly scheduled laps. There's Trey Smith in the 8 machine. Excuse me, Landon Smith Jr. Trey Smith was in that car last year, but that car has been to Gatorade Victory Lane. Griffin Lynn brought that Chevy Corvette home to Victory Lane in the 2018 rendition of this race. Not really, not the official distance. I know that game crashed halfway through, but still, Griffin Lynn being credited with the first ever GT Le Mans winner of this event, GT Daytona crown, going to the 56. Trying to find. I don't think there's a GT Daytona 56. I know that there's a GT Le Mans 56. That's driven by, check my notes here, Reggie Fogelman.
Yeah, there is no GT Daytona 56.
Yeah. But Micah Knapp was the driver of that.
With Fogelman in Le Mans. So you see Fogelman here. Another driver that actually had a pretty solid season. I thought he won. So, you know what? I can't remember if he actually won a race in the Haas IndyCar. He was teammates with Cole Raymond in the Haas IndyCar Series over the last year. So he learned a lot from him in that regard on the Nathan Norman Motorsports team. But definitely intrigued to see what he can do here in this one. I mean, he's running in the 4th position right now, so he's definitely in a good position to pull something off. And then right behind him is Chris Reynolds there, another driver who had a solid season in the Haas IndyCar Series. Actually got the win in the Michigan 100 over there. You know, that's an oval course. Still ran in that as well. So we got a lot of IndyCar Series drivers. I mean, Fitzwater was in the IndyCar Series. Fitzwater, you know, I'm talking about all these other guys who were in the IndyCar Series. Fitzwater almost won the Indy 250. I mean, the guy he won it was Trey Smith, who's in the 49 in this class, but a lot of IndyCar experience, you know, in this GT Le Mans field especially. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if any of these guys end up going to victory lane here, considering all that experience that they had from last year.
Yeah, Micah Knapp, the 2020 or the 2018 GTLM winner. My mistake. He's getting past there. That's not Griffin Lynn, but Griffin Lynn won the GT Daytona. The reason I thought that was a GT Le Mans car is because it's a Corvette. I'm not sure why that was racing in GT Daytona back then, but hey, that was 4-5 years ago, so we were all doing stupid things back then. But he is currently under fire. That is Logan Alexander in the 6 machine. Good run for him so far.
You have the GT Daytona classes going. You know, Berto Crown Jr., they had significant advantage. We'll see if they've kind of fallen into the wings of the rest of the class. And they kind of cleared, you know, everyone in the Le Mans class has kind of cleared them. But now you got second place there, I think is the number 60 of Eric Monaco.
Eric Monaco has surpassed John Stewart for that second position in GT Daytona, and they are rapidly catching that 021 of Crown Jr. So it was a good advantage for about 6 laps there. But now he's in dirty air. Now he doesn't have any drafting help. He's kind of a sitting duck. So especially on the oval portion of this track, Roberto Crown Jr. is going to lose some time to the other GT Daytona cars. But Eric Monaco doing pretty well despite starting in the 4th position in this class. And shout out the 008 of Jack Ribbleton, who is Roy Ribbleton's brother. Roy Ribbleton running in the number, look at my notes here if I can find. Actually, I do not believe Roy Ribbleton, he's in the 36 machine, who he is second to last in front of Nathan Orman there. But the Ribbleton brothers running relatively close to one another. Crown Jr. is really getting the job done here in the infield portion of this track.
It seems like a lot of guys are doing that. It must be worn in at this point where there's enough grip where they can do it and cut the corner and not really affect their race cars, which is good to see. You know, at least it's not affecting anybody, but you got to be careful. We may see some things go down if they're not careful, if that keeps up, but they've all kept it relatively clean, you know, since we had that first lap incident. So, you know, they do spread out, and that helps out, but we'll just have to see. I mean, still got 83 laps to go in this race, so it'll be a long ways before we crown a champion.
Yeah, and usually with an event this long, we've seen in years past how the first segment usually is relatively incident-free. We've usually got the incident on the first lap, maybe 1 or 2 incidents here or there. It's usually the second, especially the third segment, that final 24 minutes, where poop usually hits the fan. But here, pretty calm opening 7 laps so far. We saw Juan Rodriguez going underneath Jack Ribbleton there, entering NASCAR Turn 1. Going back up to the GTLM, it is still Nathan Stapleton who has led all 8 laps in this event so far. Cole Raymond, Zachary Fitzwater currently rounding out your podium. Reggie Fogelman and Chris Reynolds rounding out your top 5. But once they hit that first cycle of pit stops, that is when the action is going to kick up here. So we said 25 to 30 laps, that's the window. And once they start, especially when they start getting closer, that's when the intensity is going to ramp up. You want to get track position, and it's going to be interesting to see who does an overcut, who does an undercut. Is Zachary Fitzwater going for second underneath the 20 car?
And the thing is, too, with those pit stops coming up, everyone's right on each other here, at least in the Le Mans class. So, you make one little mistake, you're going to lose a few positions. So that first pit stop is really going to be crucial to how well you do in the rest of the race. Because if you do end up with a buffer on the second pit stop, you're going to have more room to make a mistake. So we'll have to see, that this first pit stop could very well, determine who gets the race victory later on the night.
Indeed it does. Nathan Stapleton still leading. We've got quite a few Mission Barbecue Cup Series drivers in here. Stapleton, Zachary Fitzwater, Landon Smith Jr., a former driver, but Logan Alexander, Mitchell Collins, that's Benny Watson, your development driver, Caleb Rose, Micah Knapp's not in the NBCS, but the 49 machine of Trey Smith, he's in there. Colin Cropley is not. The 84, Alex Lozano is not. I'm surprised Alex Lozano's not in the NBCS. Colin Bear is not either. Not a whole lot in GT Le Mans. There's a lot in GT Daytona. Guys like Owen Miles, Eric Monaco, Juan Rodriguez is actually in GT Daytona. I'm not sure who I said was Juan Rodriguez up in here. But you got a lot of guys up in this field who have got experiences, quite a bit of experience on the road courses, as Cole Raymond is going to do some agricultural work there through the Western Horseshoe, opens the door for Fitzwater, and that opens the gap up for Nathan Stapleton to get a little bit of breathing room. But like I was saying, a lot of NBCS pedigree here. They typically go on the oval tracks, but on the road courses, we're seeing where the stars are shining. Obviously, Zachary Fitzwater shining here on the road course, or the Roval of this layout, I should say. The Aussie obviously doing some work, and Nathan Stapleton hasn't won on a road course of the NBCS to my knowledge, but he's done a lot of work in the Haas IndyCar Series. He's won a couple of road courses, if I'm not mistaken, in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series and the Wawa Pro Series. So Stapleton and Zachary Fitzwater doing the dirty work here. They had to rise their way through the ranks, and in a special event like this, even though there's no points on the line, still running really well.
Stapleton ever won on a road course in the Cup Series. I know he's won a race before, I'm pretty sure, but regardless of the fact, experience means a lot. I know Stapleton's been on a lot of these road courses. He's one of the more experienced drivers in the field, so it's no surprise to see him do well. Obviously, I picked him to get the race victory, but we'll just have to see. We got some action right there. So the 06 hit the outside wall.
Close call there for Chris Reynolds, but he is moving his way through the field. That 06 started back all the way. Actually, he started in 4th, and he's currently rocking P4 right now, so fell a little ways away on the start, but is back to where he started from. Cue the Jill Zine Maxwell song in the movie Slapshot in the background. Of course, I'm not going to play it, as Landon Smith Jr. really getting aggressive with Fogelman there through the Western Horseshoe. And like we said at the top of the show, Western Horseshoe is going to be where all the action is so far. And where all the action is going to be all night long.
Yeah, definitely want to watch for it. We've seen a lot of action already through that corner. Everyone cutting the corner. We got a battle right there. John Stewart almost looked like he was going to get to the inside of Monaco. And these guys have closed in on Crown Junior, so even these guys here in GT Daytona are going to be right on each other when the cycle begins. But Crown Junior does have that advantage there. Pretty big gap for him right there in that number 21 machine. The famous scheme, if you remember.
Yep.
Remember the idiots in NASCAR series back in the day.
I was just about to
running first.
I was just about to mention that. That was the reason I chose that scheme back for the Kubota GT series when this event was originally run. But the famous Idiots of NASCAR 21 card. That's how I figured out that not only this mod existed, but NR2003 existed. So shout out to TNT Man 93 for providing so many great years of NR content, whether it's Idiots of NASCAR, Harmless Shenanigans, tutorials, you name it. About half the stuff I know how to do is due to Idiots of NASCAR or in TNT Man 93. So big shout out to him, and big shout out to him for making this incredible scheme famous, and this mod famous overall with Project Wildfire. And all the guys that just make NR 2003 have made the game alive for the past almost 20 years. It's insane that in less than a month, this game is going to be turning 2 decades old, Alex.
20 years, that's it's hard to believe. But hey, you know, it's awesome. We're still here, still doing stuff, you know, and doing this race. You know, we got you got stuff coming up. I got a lot of stuff coming up coming this year, and you know, and it's still just as good, just as fun as it was. You know, obviously we don't play it as all flying creators, but even has a big, you know, playing community as well. There's still leagues, there's some online leagues, people driving, and you know, like my friend Andrew is still involved with that at least a little bit. You know, so many great people involved with this whole community over the past 20 years, and it's just awesome to see it still be around, even through everything we went through on our end. You know, we're still here doing stuff and loving it too. You know, absolutely love it. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't love it, and I still love it. Looking forward to this year. The 20th anniversary of NR 2003, a game that no doubt changed my life. I gotta say that. It absolutely changed my life, but for the better, and wouldn't take any of it back.
Me either. Just such a special game to everybody in everybody's hearts, and we're celebrating it here tonight with a little bit of endurance racing. Kind of not the way that the game was designed to be to celebrate the 20th anniversary, but hey, hindsight's 2020, and we really don't care. We got a 3-car battle for this race lead in GTLM, working on lap 12 of the Mike's Hard Lemonade 2.4 hours of Daytona. And we're going to be seeing pit stops in about 12 to 17 laps here. So about midway through this tire and fuel run, we're already seeing cars going all over the racetrack, some losing control, some going into the grass, ruining the great grass here we got at Daytona, as Cole Raymond going to go to the inside of Zachary Fitzwater there for a second, but going to duck back in line. So once these cars start losing control, that is where this race is going to really kick in the action.
Absolutely. So it's all kind of calm now, but they know they got a lot of time, so there's no true reason to battle too hard and risk getting wrecked out of the race too early. So they're all keeping it cool right now. We'll have to see how it ends up going down after that cycle of pit stops. That's when things are really going to get pretty intense. So
yeah, that's when the storylines begin to develop.
That's excited to see how it all goes down.
Yep. That's when the storylines begin to develop. That's when everything starts to really shake up. We see who the favorites are, who the stronger cars are, who the weaker cars were on the start of the race. But right now, Nathan Stapleton and Cole Raymond, as Raymond is going to go down to the inside. Could we see our first lead change of the night? Stapleton's going to fight hard on that inside, going through the S's, but it's going to be Raymond taking the lead here on lap 13. And Stapleton could lose another position. He's going to try and go down to the inside through the International Horseshoe, but he's going to have to settle for second. And now clean air in front of that Napa Corvette. Cole Raymond leading here in GT Le Mans.
Cole Raymond, first main pass of the night here in this 2.4 hour race. Stapleton kind of falling off just a little bit right there, and now Fitzwater right behind him. But Cole Raymond's definitely looking strong, and like I said, that one win they got in the Indy cars over the summer was at the Indy road course, and you know there are some similarities to that track compared to this one. So we'll have to see how that number 20 does as this race goes along. But he's going to have an advantage when we get to the cycle of pit stops, assuming he's still going to be out front. As he said, about halfway through the fuel run at this point. So we'll just have to see how it ends up going down.
We'll flip back to GT Daytona real quick. I saw that the gap has shrunken. Indeed, it has. Roberto Crown Jr. now all by himself. Eric Monaco and John Stewart. I think those guys are definitely gonna catch up to him before this cycle begins. But Crown Jr., I'm still baffled to how he outqualified half of the GT Le Mans field in single car qualifying. That just absolutely baffles me.
Yeah, definitely a great run for him there, and that's going to give him a bit of an advantage, but it's such a long race that advantage may end up dwindling as this race goes along, and have to see if they get a good pit stop, but either way, you know, they're right now holding everybody behind them, so we'll have to see if they can, in fact, get this race victory. But it seems like those guys behind are really closing in there. You got Monaco there, and then John Stewart, and they're all on each other right here as well. Look at that.
Yeah, I feel like
cars there for a second.
Yeah, I feel like Monaco might be holding up these guys just a little bit, but John Stewart, Juan Rodriguez, and there's your pick, Madison Tall, in that bright blue CarQuest Viper. Your pick to win here tonight. There's Ryan Durrani. There's Clark Biano III, who had a chance to win in the New Year's 500 back on January 1st, but unfortunately was wrecked out late in the race. There's a 001 machine. That is Jason Lona. Luna Lona is in the 07 for GTLM. There she is in that Corvette. But like I mentioned about 5 minutes ago, still a lot of pedigree when it for several different series here, whether it's the NBCS Chick-fil-A Cup Series, Wawa Pro Series, Haas IndyCar Series, quite a few of those drivers overlapping, and all 4 of those series mentioned. Just got a lot of talent here showcased, and these fans have come to see talent, and they're seeing talent here tonight.
Absolutely. And a lot of talent up front, especially with those 4 guys who are leading this field. Even, 5 guys. You want to count Reggie Fogelman there. They're in 5th now. But Chris Reynolds, definitely a strong driver. He moved up to 3rd, got around Fitzwater there. And obviously, Fitzwater, most legendary offline driver in NR 2003. They're in his normal number 59. That's his number. And probably going to see him in that number in the Wawa Cup Series this year. So excited to see that. And then you got Stapleton right there in the middle of all that. So just so many good drivers, and especially on these road courses with Paul Rain and Chris Reynolds, Acton Fitzwater, and Stapleton. They're just doing an excellent job. You see, Reynolds is really looking strong now in that 06 machine. Stapleton kind of falls off. That's going to be 2 passes within a couple of laps there, and we haven't seen any this entire run, but he definitely saved up his stuff, and he's looking to possibly even go for the race lead here.
He might just do that. That Interstate Batteries vet is coming alive here in the late stages of this fuel run. Raymond now up to 2nd place. Reynolds now up to 2nd place. Raymond still holds the lead. It's the Raymond and Reynolds show here on the back straightaway at Daytona. If you're just tuning in, 15 laps down of the scheduled 89, which will make up about 2.4 hours for this Daytona event. We see a couple of cars that were caught up in that lap 1 accident. Max Davis in the 88, the 011 of Lyle Austin, and the 9 of Emily Bull. All 3 of those drivers making their first start here. So unfortunately, not going to get the job done here on their first night. They're not going to be batting 1,000, but still just kind of unfortunately out of their control. And now Carter Joey has completely lost touch with the rest of the pack. In that 031, we mentioned he was down a cylinder, and every time I see that 31, or rather hear it go by, it just keeps sounding worse and worse and worse, and I can't imagine that it's going to last the entire night.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he can, in fact, keep it going, but it's going to be interesting to see, because considering how slow he's going, there's a good chance these Le Mans guys will catch up to him even before the cycle. Maybe, we'll just have to see if that, in fact, becomes an issue. But definitely, we'll start running in the lap traffic once we get through that first cycle of pit stops. These Le Mans guys will definitely start closing in to the Daytona guys, and that's when things will really get interesting, because these guys here are going to have to maneuver around those slower cars. And we've seen a lot of races in this game, get determined by how these guys maneuver around the lap cars, and that could be the determining factor who gets the race victory later on tonight, especially in the Le Mans class.
Yeah, lap down cars, not exactly the brightest in this game. If there's one flaw in this game, out of the many things that I love about this, the one little sliver of beef that I've got is that lap cars can be really, really dumb sometimes, but something that's not dumb is that 06, a huge run coming for Chris Reynolds on the back bumper of that 20 machine. He's doing a little bump drafting. They're going to be side by side at the line. Dead heat. Chris Reynolds will have it that time, but excuse me, no, Cole Raymond will have it that time. Chris Reynolds will now go to the inside as Carter Joey came down the pit lane trying to patch up the issue, but now he is going to be in front of all these GT Le Mans guys. Still battling for this race lead. We'll check back to see how Carter Joey comes back into traffic, but Raymond is not giving up that lead, but I think he's finally going to surrender it, going through the dog leg between the couple of horseshoes. Oh, Raymond! Oh, boy! Excuse me, Reynolds, he's going to go wide.
Adventurous there through the kink, and now these guys, where was this? I mean, they ran so mildly, the first 14 laps, but I think these tires have just become such a factor now in this race. You got all these slower corners, especially in the infield, and definitely seeing it come into effect. Reggie Folkman is another guy who's really moving up there. He's now up to third. Stapleton's down to fourth, and Fitzwater has fallen off. He's now down to the sixth position there. The number 59 machine.
Yeah, I think Fitzwater used up his stuff trying to get back into the lead after losing it after blowing turn one, but Chris Reynolds, after falling down to sixth on the first lap with that whole land rush in the infield portion, has been methodically clawing his way up to the pack. Up this pack, and now he is in the top spot with that clean air. We'll catch back with Carter Joey, and he is massively holding up as Micah Knapp almost sent Carter Joey into the fence right there. Fortunately, both of those cars are able to keep it straight. Man, oh man, and now it's Micah Knapp is going to be under fire from the 49 car of... That's Trey Smith.
Indy 250 winner from last year. So he's got a big one under his belt. He wants another one here. But he got held up there. They all kind of got held up. You see those guys got right behind Mike and Knapp there. And yeah, Carter Joey is not going to be anyone's friend as this race goes along here tonight. And you're definitely going to see this as this run goes along. How poorly he's going around this place. Of course, he's racing with the Le Mans guys right now, so he's already has a slower car, and then you take the cylinder into effect, and he's really struggling out there.
Absolutely. We'll quickly flip back to GT Daytona at the moment. Make sure everybody's still here, and some trouble in GT Daytona. It looks like Colin Bear, that's actually a couple of GT Le Mans guys, so Colin Bear and the 78 of Jim Vincencliffe are hearing that they got together in the bus stop. The replay will be at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. And, of course, we'll do a little bit of a recap like we do every year.
It seemed like these guys became a lot more on edge, not too long ago. And, now that the tires are wearing out, they're having a harder time getting through, these corners, especially the bus stop there in the backstretch. So it's probably what happened. The tires just worn out. They thought they had the grip, and they didn't have it because we're 18 laps into the run.
Yeah, and you see the tire tracks there in the inner loop, and unfortunately for them, there's no cautions here, so they can't re-rack them. Thankfully for us, there's no cautions, because that would make this race just a snooze fest and a parade, and nobody wants that, especially for 2.5 hours, but tough break for both of those drivers, especially Colin Bear, who is running in the 10th position at the time. Jim Vincencliffe, who is making his first start on the channel. And it looks like they're going to continue to roll here. You see, they're all the way back up. There's Bear, and Vincencliffe is somewhere back in there. That 78 machine, trying to see where he came out. Now I'm giving everybody epilepsy, flipping back like this. He's still in the pit lane, so he's going to be knocked out of contention. So tough break for the rookies. Excuse me, Colin Bear was in this event last year, but Jim Vincencliffe, unfortunately, he is also not going to bat 1,000 here tonight.
These three guys have done an excellent job. Reynolds and Sampson. Raymond, excuse me. I think Sampson. There used to be a Cole Sampson, didn't there?
Yep.
Cole Raymond, all those guys there, all three of those top three ran in the Indy in the Haas Indy Series. Actually, top four all ran in the Haas IndyCar Series. Top five Actually, I think Landon Smith Jr. as well was in that. So top 5 guys all ran in IndyCar, and this is the kind of race that is going to favor a driver who does well in the Haas IndyCar Series or in any IndyCar Series for that matter. And no surprise to see him run well here in this one.
Indeed, currently running in the 5th position. Got 4 wins under his belt in the Mission Barbecue Cup Series, but you were mentioning Cole Sampson. His brother Riley Sampson is running in GT Daytona here tonight in the number 72 711 machine, so see how he's doing. Not too well at the moment, currently running as, Henry Wallace is going to duck down the pit lane. Not sure if it's an issue or could this be some short pitting here.
Could be. It may work out if you short pit a little bit here. This is one of those tracks where it can work, and I think we're probably starting to see the cycle begin here. It looks like a notable stop there for the number 71.
It's going to be a 4-tire stop for that Viper with Dodge manufacturer, just a manufacturer-sponsored car. But like we're saying, Riley Sampson now, he is all the way in the back of the field, currently running in the 35th position. So about 15th in GT Le Mans, or GT Daytona. We'll check back in here. And these guys still haven't gotten around Roberto Crown Jr. Now John Stewart under fire there for a second from Madison Tall. But Tall will fall back in the clutches of Juan Rodriguez. These 2 drivers up in here, actually all 3 if you count Ryan Durrani, on running in the Mission Barbecue Cup Series. Same thing with Eric Monaco and Roberto Crown Jr. Like we said, a lot of these drivers in GT Daytona have also run in the MBCS here tonight.
Yeah, you got a lot of that experience down in GT Daytona. I think that's why you're seeing a lot of those guys run well. Obviously it's a little bit different, but still, get that experience and recent experience as well. Your reflexes are a lot fresher on some of the guys who may not have raced in a while. So definitely interesting to see who we got running up front in the GT Daytona class. But it's not been as action-packed back in there as it has been in GT Le Mans. I think these guys, because they go a little bit slower, they don't need to depend on grip quite as much as the Le Mans cars. But we're seeing a battle right here. John Stewart trying to get around Monaco. He might actually get it right here.
And indeed he is. We'll see if Monaco fights going into the International Horseshoe. And he might have a lane low, but I think Stewart is going to close the deal going into the dogleg, and he's going to close the deal exiting the International Horseshoe. So a good run for John Stewart, second in GT Daytona. But right now, Jim Vincent Clough, holy, he is slow on the track. To get a frame of reference, that 031 car is down a cylinder, and he is pushing that 78. We'll see how they dance going through the inner loop. Steady, steady. They're both going to go through the grass, but that 78 is going to be a moving target, or a moving bollard here. Or just a hazard, I should say. A moving hazard throughout the night, it looks like.
If car's always getting around him, that's even slower than the other driver that we were talking about. So not exactly the most ideal thing for the rookie, and not really going to be an ideal thing for our race leaders. There's another battle right here, and look at Reggie Fogelman up to second now. A lot of movement kind of going up here in front of the field, and you see how Chris Reynolds kind of pulled away. I think that 06 may have one of the faster cars, but Fogelman has also moved through the field very well in this one, and we've seen a lot of different faces kind of up front in GT Le Mans before the first cycle of pit stops.
Oh yeah, especially with that clean air. We've had 4 different leaders with Reynolds, Raymond, Fogelman, and Stapleton. 5 if you count Zachary Fitzwater, who led them to green. But Fogelman now up to second, right where he started, right behind Reynolds. But we're going to see these guys duck down the pit lane in about 3 to 7 laps here. Actually, 3 to 8 laps. Somewhere in that window. But Reynolds is currently running his own laps. It looks like that 06 might be dialed in, but once they hit that first cycle of pit stops, we are going to see how good those pits crews are on the lane and how much of an advantage or disadvantage can these drivers get while getting service.
Absolutely. That's really going to be the determining factor. But even after that, if these guys stay close to each other, we have seen, how much they've battled on. So we could very well see a battle all the way up to the end, especially considering how close these Le Mans guys have been all race long. So it's going to be fascinating to see how they all come out in relation to each other, because it seems like Reynolds and Fogelman are two of the fastest cars out here. Raymond's been decently fast, but he's fallen back to his original position. That 8 machine, Landon Smith Jr. is looking pretty sporty as well. And Stapleton was actually once leading this race with the first 13 laps of the event, I think. He's now down to the 6th position there.
Yeah, just taking your time, not wanting to abuse your equipment early. That is the game plan here tonight. But Benny Watson, your development driver, he's been knocking on the door of this top 5. And just I say that.
Development driver, he is my driver.
Oh, he is your driver. He's going to go a little bit wide there, going out of the infield portion. But hey, currently running in the 7th position, fastest car on the racetrack is Colin Cropley in that number 3 machine. And then for GT Daytona, no surprise there. The fastest lap by a 1/1000th of a second over the 0.8 of Jack Ribbleton is 0.21 of Roberto Crown Jr. And he has still got a pretty sizable lead over his Daytona companions, led by John Stewart there. Currently a 3-second lead, which he has been able to maintain over the course of 23 laps.
Of course, they had an advantage to start this race off, as we got some movement on the pit lane. Here we go. Stapleton kind of fallen off a little bit on this team, and they want to get some service so they can get back up to speed. Falling 5 positions in a road course race isn't the greatest thing, so we'll have to see if they can get an advantage here.
Stapleton will be the first car to hit the pit lane in the GT Le Mans class. I imagine it's going to be 4 fresh BF Goodrich tires. It's ironic because we got Hoosier sponsoring our leaderboard, but whatever. And it will be 4 fresh tires for that 7 machine, filling up with octane racing fuel, and that Air Force Corvette is going to fly high out of the pit lane. It doesn't look like anybody else is going to come down the pit lane. No, Luna Lona and Carter Joey Ryan Durrani will come down. Durrani will service him in the pits. Same with Dylan Matthews and the 072 of Riley Sampson. But now we'll go back with the leaders and see if these guys come down. I imagine they'll come down either this time by or the next time by. But that window is open until lap 30. We'll see if anybody elects to try and overcut here. And hey, we've seen it here before. And I don't know if that will be the strategy that works, but Reggie Fogelman with a big run. He got a great exit out of the bus stop. A little bit of contact there, bump drafting that 06.
We may see yet another pass for the race lead here, but Fogelman, I think, is coming down the pit lane. No, almost looked like he was there for a second, but look at this. Fogelman has really come on strong here. I mean, I can't remember. Where did he start? I got it right up here.
Second.
Fogelman started in the 2nd position and then fell back at the start there and then kind of climbing back up. So he's done a great job, and now he's got the race lead here on lap 25.
It looks, I believe that they are going to be coming this time by. We'll see if any GT Daytona drivers elect to come down the pit lane. Somebody's on the pit lane. That is going to be the 84 of Alex Lozano for GTLM. And here comes Roberto Crown Jr. for GT Daytona. So the Daytona's beginning to pit. We'll follow along with the Harley-Davidson Mustang, see what he does. And he's further up on the pit lane than the rest of the Daytonas, so that is going to be a huge advantage for him as well. We'll see what he does. Anybody else coming down? So is Eric Monaco, the 055 of Aguirre Sato in his first start on the channel.
It's going to be interesting to see where everyone else comes out in relation here. But bit of an undercut there for Roberto Crown Jr. There's still a few guys out there, but a lot of guys here, right on with Roberto Crown Jr. They're not really going to gain much, but I think some of these guys who stayed out, we'll have to see if they gain any advantage. And once again, look at this battle for the lead in GTLM.
Oh, I thought they were going to turn each other there for a second.
They almost did. They're just bumping each other right into the pit lane.
So Fogelman and Chris Reynolds will come down. It looks like the 20 car of Cole Raymond will stay out. Same with Landon Smith Jr. See if Zachary Fitzwater. No, Fitzwater does not come down, but Benny Watson will come down. Same with Caleb Rose and Trey Smith in the 49 machine. So fall along with Fogelman, who was the leader coming in. Oh, the jack drops first on the 06. We'll see if he's going to beat out the 56 on the pit lane.
He might. He did get to his pit stall, I think, half a second faster, but it's going to be tight. And it's going to be interesting to see where Stapleton comes out, because he did do the undercut, and he wasn't too far behind, just a few seconds. So imagine we're going to see that 7 kind of come through here shortly in the turn 1, and there he is. Going to be interesting, but I don't know. He might be a little bit too far behind at this point to really gain an advantage on Fogelman and Reynolds.
He might fall
Reynolds
behind.
may end up having it once it's all good, once it's all said and done here.
He might fall a little behind. He's going to get around Caleb Rose, but Rose has got a lap fresher tires, so I have to see how that plays out later in the event. But 56 of Reggie Fogelman, I believe, would be your leader once this all cycles out. Now, I believe Cole Raymond is going to come down the pit lane this time by. We'll see the rest of the GT Le Mans drivers. So, Logan Alexander, Cole Raymond, Landon Smith Jr., and Fitzy, and Mitchell Collins stayed out along with Nathan Orman. Those were the 5 or so cars to stay out, and now they will come down this time by, focusing on the 20 of Raymond, as he will make his way down the pit lane to that number 3 pit stall. This would be number 5 pit stall.
All 3 of these guys are right on each other right here, and they were kind of right in the mix there with Fogelman. Stapleton was a little bit ways behind, so it's going to really be fascinating to see if these guys actually get any advantage, because it seemed like Fogelman and Reynolds actually pulled away a little bit there from Stapleton. It was pretty close, and all these guys are pretty much right on each other, but good stop there out of Cole Raymond. We'll have to see if he gets out ahead of Fitzwater. He will.
Oh!
Fitzwater's going to beat out the 8, though. That's a close one right there.
He did make contact.
Junior there.
Zachary Fitzwater with quite a bit of damage on the passenger side of that number 59. And here we go. Here's a battle for the race lead off of the pit lane. And it looks like Cole Raymond is just barely going to beat out Fogelman. No, Fogelman with the momentum to the inside. It's going to be a drag race through the dog leg. And they're both being held up by Jim Vincent Cliff. Raymond has got the lead with the fresher tires, but he's going to be held up by the lap down car. Reynolds dive bombing it through the Western Horseshoe. But Zachary Fitzwater has got quite a bit of damage on that passenger side. We'll see a better view of it this time by Reynolds going really wide. But you see a lot of damage to the right side of that car, and he is already losing positions. Stapleton's going by. I imagine that Benny Watson will be going by. He might need to head down the pit lane for repairs.
Yeah, that was an interesting shot right there to the 59, and we'll have to see if he can, in fact, keep it going. As Fogelman through the bus stop trying it on Cole Raymond. He's going to get it, and Fogelman still has those warm tires, and 20 did not get through the chicane wheel at all. Really got held up there, but that 78 is really holding these guys up behind him. And then look at this. Stapleton going to get an advantage on Reynolds there. 78 really getting in the way. He's going to get in the way of both of them.
And Stapleton is going to get held up a lot here. And here comes the GTLM train right down below. Stapleton not going to be happy with Jim Vincent Cliff. And he's going to lose about 5 spots here in the span of about 20 seconds. And he's going to lose even more if he can get around this 78. Now he does. But Stapleton, who was at the line 6th, is going to come out the 8th position. And Jim Vincent Cliff, oh boy.
Yeah, oh boy indeed. And this is a difficult place to get around lap traffic, especially through the infield. It's kind of narrow there through the infield part of the track, and this guy's going to have a little bit of difficulty getting around. Landon Smith Jr., you know, he got caught up there with Fitzwater. He fell back quite a bit as well, and his brother right behind him, Trey Smith, trying to get around the 78 machine, but You know, Fitzwater's hanging on at the moment, but we'll have to see. That next pit stop may be where they repair the damage, and that may be where he ends up losing the time, because it doesn't appear to be affecting him too much at this point, but if they see it, they're going to fix it on the pit lane, and that could definitely slow that team down.
Reggie Fogelman, what a stop for that 56, and it's quickly flipped back to GT Daytona. See how that all shuffled out. Roberto Crown Jr. leads, but Ryan Durrani now in the second spot. Ho, ho, how did this happen? Wow.
I mean, we're going to focus on GT Daytona, even though they haven't been battling quite like the Le Mans guys. You know, if these guys reel in Crown Jr., it could be just like the GTLM battle, and Durrani with a great stop there and a great strategy on that team. And, you know, while Crown Jr. still holds a pretty dominant lead here in this class, I think Durrani may have a shot here. Isn't Madison Tall there in third? Watch out for those guys as they come around.
Tall is indeed in the third spot. Excuse me, she's in the fourth spot there for GT Daytona. But we'll flip back through here. And oh boy. Well, there goes the car.
Carter Joey. Yeah, it's I mean, we kind of expected that.
Oh, and he almost got run over there.
And this is not a good place to have an issue, too. I mean, he's on the first quarter of the racetrack at this point, and
GTLM leader.
All these guys, here comes the Le Mans leaders.
They're going to catch up to him. He will bring it down on the apron. That is very wise of him, but Carter Joey looks like he blew a little bit more than a cylinder. He is very, very slow on the inside. Won't know exactly what the issue is until he gets to the garage area, but it looks like Carter Joey will be the first casualty of this one here tonight. It only took 29 laps for us to get a driver to fall out of the race. That's going to be a new record in this event.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a clean race. I mean, we've had a couple of moments, but it's been a relatively clean race so far, and I'm glad it has been. You know, the more the merrier. We'll get to the end of this race, and they've been sticking right with each other as well. So I have a feeling it's going to be kind of down to the wire these last 60 or so laps of this race.
Indeed, but got the commercial break coming up here in about 5 or so laps. But you saw the 56 hit the wall there, and your ears did hear correctly. There are commercial breaks in this race because we do the race in advance. So to make sure that the entire replay saves, we split it up into 3 separate little recordings here. So we are going to have a commercial break in about 5 laps. That's one of the few interesting things here, the unique aspects of this race that I love doing. This is by far my favorite event to do all year. Just the amount of planning that goes into it. It's kind of a pain in the side when we're actually doing this, but it all pays off in the end, and this is absolutely, by far, one of the most unique events run here in all of NR 2003 offline. And Reggie Fogelman currently leading here with about 60 laps to go here, or roughly 2 hours to go.
Yeah, we have to sell more ad space so Trey can get better in.
Yeah, absolutely. Netgear internet, not exactly the best, and so I can get a better computer as well. I'm not sure how choppy this recording is going to be as, whoa!
Oh, choppy entry into the chicane.
Lyle Austin getting a little bit of hang time there, going over the sausage curbs, and now he is going to be bump trafficked by Cole Raymond. Contact being made, and that is a close call.
We're starting to get to that point in the race where we're running into these Daytona cars. There's like Chris Reynolds here. It's Raymond stuck right behind on 11. Reynolds is right there looking to close in.
Reynolds right on the back end of that 20 machine. Same with Benny Watson looking to strike it. How about Caleb Rose? Now, Caleb Rose does not really strike me as the 06 is in the wall.
Benny Watson, I got to give a shout out to my driver. You know, he's not me, so I can actually talk about him. He's up to 4th now. Another one kind of like Reggie Fogelman, another Jaguar. You know, Fogelman really went through the field very well after he fell back in Watson. You know, Watson started 7th, fell back initially, and then, you know, he's moving up very well at a great pit stop, and he could be a threat to win this race the way things are going right now. But then, like you said, Caleb Rose as well is another guy to watch out for. I don't really know where he came from. Rose started in the 13th position. He's up to 5th now, so great day for Caleb Rose, and he's only got 4 more positions to get to the race lead.
Indeed he does, but we've got quite a bit of lap traffic coming up. Max Davis and Emily Bull. I believe they'll catch up to them before the commercial break at lap 35, but looks like there might have been an incident with Dylan Matthews in the 26, or he could have some sort of mechanical failure. Not sure what the issue is there, but flipping back, let's see if GT Daytona's changed at all. Looks like it is not a Zachary Fitzwater, so it looks like Fitzwater did come down the pit lane.
Yeah, he's mixing it up with these guys. Now, that's a tough break for Fitzy. He started on the pole for this race, and just a bad entry on that first pit stop. And I have to see if that affects Landon Smith Jr. at all in this race as well, because he obviously fell off quite a bit as well from that.
Yeah, Smith Jr. currently running in the 12th or 13th position now, so he's feeling the effects of that pit exit, a little mini accident there. I mean, it doesn't look like a lot, and you wouldn't think it would be a lot on a road course, but with how these cars are built, how streamlined they are, and the fact that half of this track, or at least a good portion of this track is on the oval layout, aerodynamics mean absolutely everything. No matter, it doesn't matter if they're turning left or right, doesn't matter how long this race is, aerodynamics are the key to having a successful race. And Reggie Fogelman right on the back end of that 88 machine.
And these are two Daytona cars who are completely up to speed. So now we're starting to get into the Daytona traffic that's not had any issues tonight. So really going to make it even harder because these guys are going a little bit faster. So they're not going to hold you up as much, but it might be a little bit harder to pass them. Fogelman did a good job there on Max Davis, and we'll have to see if we can get around this car right in front of him. Number 9, Emily Bull.
Emily Bull, she's going to be fairly boorish to get around, I believe, but Fogelman, he's going to run up on her, going through the corner. Going to try and bump her out of the way. I would suggest doing that at about 100-something miles an hour, and he's almost going to turn her.
Whoa.
Oh boy, that's the danger of having Daytona cars being that slower than the Le Mans cars. Fogelman trying to go the long way around this 9. I'm not sure how that's going to play out for him. Keep a watch out.
Reynolds there.
Ooh.
Or not Reynolds, excuse me. Cole
Raymond.
Raymond there in the 20 machine. I get them confused. He's right there now on the back bumper of the 56 of Fogelman, and we'll have to see. You know, he's not gotten around Emily Bull yet, and we'll have to see if he can get around her, but Fogelman's got her cleared. Here we go.
Ooh, Bull did not have a good entry. She's going to punt Fogelman out of the racing groove.
Oh, boy, that's not good at all.
Fogelman will keep it off the Armco, but Emily Bull completely blowing the Western Horseshoe. She's going to get back into it.
So sorry.
I didn't hear it. You kind of cut out there.
Maybe it's a good thing.
Oh, Bolt. I just got it. My brain did. My ears didn't hear, but my brain did. Right there, indeed. But that's gonna give this race lead to Cole Raymond. Wow.
Now, and that's going to be interesting to see if Fogelman actually accumulated any damage from that. I don't think he hit anything, but obviously lost a lot of positions there now behind Trey Smith, so he should be in the 8th position now. But yeah, he's not going to be happy with Emily Bull after that one, and they may have a conversation at the end of the race. But the good thing is he's still got 50 laps, so maybe he'll forget about it by the time he gets to the end. We'll just have to see.
Something happened with the 64 and the 40. Not sure what that deal was. But Cole Raymond leading the way here as we have just about reached the 1 hour mark here. Wait till they get to the start-finish line to go to commercial, but fairly lackluster first hour here at Daytona.
Lackluster?
But
I think we've had a lot of things go on in this first hour, and we just saw one last lap, but
I said fairly
entertaining. It has been entertaining up front. I mean, we've seen a lot of guys lead this race. You don't normally see that on a road course, you know, here in NR, but it's going to be fun to see who gets this race winning, because they're still all right on each other here, 34 laps into this race.
Indeed they are, but we'll see your top 5 for GT Le Mans on the left-hand side of your screen. Cole Raymond is currently your leader. And we'll go back into here. And Ryan Durrani, just as we're going for commercial break, Ryan Durrani currently leads GT Daytona. But our numero uno is complete here from Daytona. We'll be right back in just a couple of minutes. You're watching the Mike's Hard Lemonade 2.4 Hours of Daytona here on the North American Sim Racing Network.
Whopper, 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 Junior, Double, Triple, Whopper, Flame Grill taste with perfect toppers. I rule this day. Lettuce, mayo, pickle, ketchup, it's okay if I don't want that Impossible or bacon Whopper, any Whopper my way. You rule your season today at BK. Have it your way.
Welcome back to the North American Sim Racing Network's coverage of the Mike's Hard Lemonade 2.4 Hours of Daytona. And it's been an interesting first hour for both classes, starting off with chaos in the first few corners of the track. Emily Ball, Henry Wallace, and others getting swept up in GT Daytona. We wouldn't have any incident for another 18 laps until two GTLM cars tangled in the bus stop, the 62 of Colin Bayer and the 78 of Jim Fencenclef. Pit stops would begin for both classes, but GTLM contender Zachary Fitzwater would make contact on the pit lane with Landon Smith Jr., causing 59 to make an extra stop for repairs. On the same lap, Carter Joey, who started the race with engine issues, blew up in the Western Horseshoe, the first casualty of the night, and controversy would strike 3 laps later, with Emily Bull punting GTLM leader Reggie Fogelman out of the way in the same spot on the racetrack. And finally, right before break, the 2018 GTLM champion Micah Knapp got squared up with Braden Perez in the S's, Perez making hard contact with the pit road barrier, taking him out of contention for GTLM. This has been your recap of the first hour. Let's jump back into the action for hour number 2 of the 2023 Mike's Hard Lemonade 2.4 Hours of Daytona. And we welcome you back to the Daytona International Speedway here in Daytona, Florida. Trey Wright alongside Alex Graham here as we work on lap number 37 of 89 for the Mike's Hard Lemonade 2.4 Hours of Daytona. Cole Raymond currently showing the way, still showing the way here for GT Le Mans. Chris Reynolds and Benny Watson rounding out your podium for the Le Mans cars, and Caleb Rose and Nathan Stapleton rounding out your top 5. Now going to Daytona, the Daytona cars, it is now Ryan Durrani, who is now rapidly catching up on Jim Fencenclef. You saw in the clip show after the commercial break the incident between the 62 and the 78 in the bus stop there, but it is Durrani, Riddle Crown Jr., John Stewart, last year's winner, Madison Tall, and the number 60 of Eric Monaco, rounding out your top 5 for GT Daytona, and some contact between the 36 and the 88.
My goodness.
Close there.
They're really intense tonight, you know. Obviously, I think we're going to have 2 great battles now that Daytona is like right on each other as well. I mean, Durrani only the second different leader in that class, but you know, obviously before we went to break, you know, we saw what happened with Reggie Fogelman. He's kind of solidified in 9th at this point, but now you got, you know, Chris Reynolds, who has been up front on the majority of the race, but Benny Watson and Caleb Rose are 2 guys who it's the highest they've been all night long, and they'll have to see what their potential is as this race goes along. Fuel run right about 27 laps in, so about 10 laps in, so if I can do the math correctly, it's going to be about lap 52 to around lap 52, lap 54, I think, when these guys come in again for their second stop. So we're close to midway through this run now, so it's going to be interesting, and those tires are going to wear out as well, and we saw that really come into effect during that first fuel run. I think we're going to see it again here shortly in a few laps.
Now we saw Reggie Fogelman in that first hour get punted out of the way by Emily Ball in the Western Horseshoe. He currently runs in the 9th position, going back to GT Daytona. Still got the 16 and the 75 there. They're right on top of one another. Well, checking this battle, we haven't seen much of GT Daytona yet, or at all really tonight. So let's pay attention here on these guys, because John Stewart, who won this race last year with the last lap pass, or 2 laps to go past, if I'm not mistaken, looking to go back-to-back here, something that has never been done in the 2.4 Hours of Daytona. We've never had a repeat winner here at Daytona, and John Stewart looking to check both boxes off his list.
He's got a good shot at doing that here. Crown Jr.'s fallen off quite a bit, but John Stewart definitely looks to have a pretty fast car at this point. And he stayed right up there in that GT Daytona class pretty much this entire night so far. So no surprise to see him run right there with Durrani, and going to be exciting to see if he can get this race lead. We had a pass for the race lead not too long ago here in this class. We may see another one here very shortly.
They were on the front straightaway, or excuse me, the back straightaway, rather. Going through the bus stop here. Surprise Roberto Crown Jr. has fallen back despite that strong start. But hey, clean air really did him in. And now a huge run coming for John Stewart through NASCAR 3 and 4. He's going to have a little bump draft. Can he go down to the inside? Whoa, he's almost going to turn him. Oh, boy.
To make it work.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Durrani's got the advantage on the inside here, as behind him, tall on Roberto Crown Jr. there as well. Crown Jr.'s really fallen off. Trying to see what happened to him. They have really fallen off the pace. They had that huge lead, and now they're down to 4th, just like that.
Tall Will now passes 21, and now Monaco wants a piece of that 21 machine. Mustang's currently running 1-2 at the moment, but the Vipers looking to run 3 and 4. If that 60 can get around Crown Jr., Monaco having a really strong run. So is Clark Piano the third. Shout out to him. And someone we haven't talked, actually, no, Colin Bear was knocked out of contention early in the first hour. But Jason Lona, he's having a relatively decent run. So is the 72 machine. And the 98 of Guile Samia. First time we're saying his name here tonight. He's having a pretty good run. But you see those GT Le Mans cars. Number 1 catching back up to Jim Vincentcliff. But they're going to be catching these GT Daytona cars soon. Before that next cycle of pit stops, I presume.
This is going to get really interesting here. I think we could see another pass for the GT Le Mans lead right here. Oh, actually, you know, Raymond's trying to get around the 78. Not really a good opportunity for him right here, and you definitely want to get around him in a place where you're not going to get held up too much, but he's already been held up quite a bit. You see Chris Reynolds and Benny Watson both behind, and there goes Reynolds trying to peek to the inside for the top position.
Reynolds dive bombs through the in and out, but it looks like Raymond will get the run off of the turn entering NASCAR 1, and he is going to have a huge shot.
Look at Watson there on the outside. And he's gonna get Reynolds there in the 06 machine.
Oh.
So Watson now up to second.
Boy.
They have contact there.
Jim Vincentcliff he's been the bull in the China shop lately, and now Reynolds will fall back to 3rd. Vincentcliff will hop the curbs, and he is still gonna hold up the 06. Looks like he's gonna try the apron. That's gonna open the door for Stapleton to try and take advantage once again. We saw this exact same situation. And looks like Reynolds is, and there's no double yellow line rule here, but he's going to bottom out significantly. Stapleton.
Ooh.
Remember Stapleton.
That's interesting, because I think at this point he's still going to have to make 2 more stops. Maybe.
I believe
it could be a bit of a strategy play for him.
No, they're not halfway, so Stapleton is going to need to make an additional stop, so the odds of him winning this race have gone down. But that means we're getting close to pit cycle here. I thought someone
came down a lot earlier, though. I mean, I think we got about 10 laps for the main guys, but Stapleton there could be an issue on that 7 machine, unfortunately.
Not sure what the issue is, as now the leaders have caught up to Colin Bear, as Benny Watson and Cole Raymond pulling away from the rest of the GTLM field. And this is the first time we have seen 2 drivers or any driver pull away in GTLM. Of course, lap traffic coming into the mix. We saw what happened between the 40 and the 64 of Micah Knapp and the 40 of Braden Perez. First time we were saying his name here tonight. Going back there is Stapleton, who rejoins the field in the 13th position. We'll wait for timing and scoring to reset. We're almost halfway home here tonight, and about 4 laps will be the halfway point through the Daytona 2.4. And I know at the beginning of the show I said that this was lackluster, but it has really picked up here as of late. Oh boy, it has.
It's been entertaining. It's been a great race so far, and I mean, I'm intrigued to see how it'll end up playing out. I mean, we're not even halfway through this thing yet, and we've already seen so much going on, especially, and another thing going on there, that's John Stewart.
John Stewart, who was leading GT Daytona, has come to rest, and we are hearing that the brakes failed on the 75. I don't know why he stopped in the middle of the racing group if the brakes failed, because he was in an area where he was just coming back onto the oval layout, and he probably, the only area he would have had an issue was the bus stop. So I'm not sure why he teleported back, but that is going to effectively take him out of contention. My goodness.
Yeah, that could have been a lot worse than what it ended up being, but that is such a tough break for John Stewart, who was one of the faster cars, on the track. Maybe why his brakes went out, But no, still, it's a tough break for John Stewart, who is running right behind Durrani there. That's going to be a good news for Durrani there in the GT Daytona classes. He's got a bit of a buffer now. Madison Tall there now in second, and like I said, she was my pick to win in this class, and this is why, she has a lot of experience in these bigger events. She's run the Indy 250 a couple of times, and I would definitely be surprised to see her have an issue or make a mistake in this race. She may not get the win, but she's been doing an excellent job. And just like Benny Watson, she's kind of methodically worked her way through the class. And now Watson's second in the GT Le Mans class, and now she is second in GT Daytona, not too far off the race lead.
As the field catch once again goes by Jim Vincentcliff, and not sure if Trey Smith, that damage sustained on the first pit stop coming back to bite him, but he is severely fallen behind. That is now Nathan Orman passing him there for the third to last position in GT Le Mans. So Landon Smith Jr. really falling off the pace, flipping back to the front here, and it is still the 20 and the 12 of Raymond and Watson respectively.
Watson able to close in there a little bit. Behind lap traffic right here at the moment. It's the one of the GT Daytona cars, and it's the
Henry
73,
Wallace. 71 of Henry Wallace.
Yeah, and we had, remember Wallace had an issue earlier on.
First lap of the race was actually pushing forward Emily Bull, if I'm not mistaken. So he was one of the 3 cars to come down, unfortunately getting taken out of contention in the early runnings of this race. But Wallace side by side gets a little hang time there through the inner loop. 3 wide, hold on.
Oh boy.
Trey Smith shooting the gap between Colin Bear and the 06 of Chris Reynolds. Still can't get the Cole Raymond and Chris Reynolds straight for some reason. But what a bonsai move.
First name that starts with C and a last name that starts with R.
Yep.
That's been confusing me all night, too.
Watson.
Watson's going for it.
Watson bombing it down to the inside. 3 abreast. He's going to be careful not to hit that pit wall. That's a hard shot.
No.
He's all right.
That did not work for him.
Trying to bite off a little bit more that he could chew, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of damage to the driver's side of that Jaguar, but he is going to lose a lot of time. And now Henry Wallace is in between Cole Raymond and Watson, so that's going to throw a monkey wrench into his hopes. But hey, halfway home next time by, so he's still got plenty of time to sort this out. Probably going to have 1 or maybe 2 more, definitely 2 more pit stops before this thing all shakes out in the end. But Cole Raymond, he's got clean air in front of him. He's going to let the mainsail fly, and he is already turning on the jets in that Napa Corvette. Wow.
Yeah, that was the opportunity for Watson, and it did not go his way at all. That was a very poor attempt there. Just lost the grip, and, we're near the end of this run, too, so the tires are not as good as they were at the beginning, and Watson thought he had the grip there. It was just not there. I want to point out Trey Smith. We got Colin Bear there off the track. Trey Smith's up to 3rd now. He has really moved his way through this field very well. Started 14th earlier in the night in this race, and he's only gone up from there. And like I said, won that Indianapolis 250, almost won the IndyCar Series Championship, just lost it out to Brian Rodriguez, but you know, he's probably going to get around Watson here shortly because Watson has that damage to his race car, and Trey Smith is right there as John Stewart. Looks like they may have gotten the brakes fixed. That's a quick, bit of a quick brake change right there, if you're asking me, but he's back out there.
They probably watched, what is it, Ford versus Ferrari the other night, and hey, if they were able to do a brake change back in 1966, you can absolutely do a brake change in the middle of a special event here in 2023, and he's unfortunately 2 laps down, and that's a death sentence here at a road course. So unfortunately for him, he's going to be taken out of contention for GT Daytona, but it's still a valiant effort. But unfortunately, it is not going to be back-to-back victories for the 75. He is going to get around Fogelman, though, as Fogelman now going to be hung out to dry on the low lane. Starting to wonder if he's got any rear-end damage from getting, to coin a phrase from Ed Soundhead, ass-packed through the Western Horseshoe. But we'll see how they fare through the inner loop. And he's actually going to pull away from the 75 as John Stewart will go through the grass just a little bit, get out of everybody's way. And hey, that's veteran driving there. Respectful driving out of that 75, and he knows what's what.
Yeah, it's a good job out of Jamie Stewart. I mean, we've seen a lot of other guys tonight not do what he did right there, and it's caused some issues. Fogelman would have wished Emily Bull to do something like that earlier on in the race, like you mentioned. But yeah, we'll just have to see how it all goes down. It's looking like Trey Smith may actually be a pretty big threat to win this race, and you know, just knowing Trey Smith, the driver, I mean, he is one of the best drivers over on my side, and we'll just have to see. He's going to be in contention in that 49 machine.
I don't know. I'd definitely say that car to beat here tonight, absolutely Cole Raymond in that 20 Corvette. Setting sail, one of the most consistent cars here tonight. But we are going to see these guys on the pit lane shortly, probably in about maybe 3 or 4 laps, give or take. But it's getting interesting. Caleb Rose still here in the top 5. Same with Logan Alexander, who I've barely talked about him here tonight. But he's waiting in the wings. Car number 6 and P number 6. Colin Cropley, who I believe is still the fastest car. No, it is actually Trey Smith. No surprise there. That 49, fastest car on the racetrack. 137.904, fastest lap of the night, and he is absolutely flying here. He might have a flying lap if he didn't hop the curbs there on the exit of the chicane.
Yeah, I definitely watch out for Trey Smith. I mean, you may not get to Cole Raymond on this run right here, but you know, you get that cycle of pit stops, get more lap traffic in the mix. It's not like Cole Raymond's not going to run into lap traffic again here tonight. I mean, we're only halfway through this thing. We've already run into lap traffic quite a bit as I got somebody coming off there. That's Madison Tall. Now, we may actually be this may be a scheduled stop in GT Daytona, and that actually could go a long way for Tall and possibly taking the race lead in that class.
Well, Fogelman, he is down the pit lane. Same with Roy Ribbleton in the 36. We'll see if anybody else elects to come down the pit lane. And it is Trey Smith coming down, so he will relinquish second position to the 12 machine of Benny Watson. But Fogelman, he's probably going to have an extended stop on the pit lane to repair that rear end damage. Trey Smith out and away. We'll see if they repair any damage on that 56. No, they're not.
No, they don't. That's good, you know. I mean, that means he's still very much in contention, didn't lose much time on the pit lane, and with the short pit, he could end up gaining a little bit here. So we'll have to see if that, in fact, happens.
Here's the battle for GT Daytona. Roberto Crown Jr. wants it back. They're not going to come down the pit lane, and Eric Monaco waiting in the wings for these guys to make contact. Crown Jr. right on the back bumper of this 16.
We had so many good battles here in GT Daytona. You know, Madison Toll came down the pit, but Crown Jr., they found themselves right back in the mix. I don't know where they got that speed from, but you got Monaco there as well, and all of a sudden, you know, it's banging up front there in the GT Daytona class.
See if the Le Mans cars come down this time by, and it looks like Cole Raymond will come down. So Raymond will give up the lead. Caleb Rose will come down as well. It's a dead heat at the line between Watson and Reynolds. But we'll
Watson's
focus.
Definitely going to be off the pace from that damage. He just completely sideswiped that wall there, and he actually led that lap. But it might be the only lap he leads tonight. I think they're going to come down next time by a little bit early on the cycle here, and we may end up having 2 more stops after this one because we're still, just a little bit past halfway. We'll just have to see if that becomes a factor. But Cole Raymond here, will have to see how well of a stop he gets here. Number 20 machine.
Pretty much identical stops to Caleb Rose. Both of them coming in and coming out, as that was a close call. Lyle Atkins has been all over the racetrack, but he was held up by Vincent Clef there, so no surprise that that was a pretty scary moment there for the rookie in the 11 car. But flipping back to the front, let's check the Daytona battle, and it does appear that Roberto Crown Jr. did take the race lead back in GT Daytona. And they haven't come down just yet. Here comes Rodriguez in the 66. He'll come down. And now it looks like Reynolds will hold the race lead, and I imagine that they'll come down this time by for GTLM.
See, where everything ends up cycling through here. But Cole Raymond's definitely going to be a pretty big threat to win this race, I feel like. Trey Smith came in before him. We'll have to see where those two ended up coming out in relation to each other.
Logan Alexander will duck down the pit lane, but the top 2 elect to stay out, so it looks like they're going to try an overcut here. And I'm not entirely sure about that. We'll wait for timing and scoring to update to see where Raymond came out. Raymond at the moment, definitely a lot further than 4 seconds back. Flip back to see
He's
where
still
he
yet to
is.
cross the line. There he is.
Same with
There's
Trey
Smith.
Smith.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Sure Trey Smith enjoyed doing that.
Oh, yeah. I know everybody in the field hoped that he completely dumped him. Wish they completely dumped him.
He may just determine who gets the win in this race, the way things are going. But Trey Smith there, he didn't lose too much time there off of Cole Raymond, and he's within a second of him right here.
Yeah, and Cole Raymond at the moment, 35 seconds off the pace. So they lose about 30 seconds on the pit lane. So it's going to be very, very tight between Raymond and Reynolds on this second stop. But we're just going to have to see how this all shakes out. Any Daytona's coming down just yet? I saw someone on. Ryan Durrani has come down. So we'll see where the 21 is. There's the 21. So Crown Jr. and Monaco both staying out. Same with Biano the third. Interesting strategy from him. Do the GTLMs come down? I imagine that they will. No, they will not.
Definitely stretching. I mean, they're still well within the window, so they still have plenty of time. A lot of those other guys, they did short pit there, and they're trying to see if that's going to be the strategy to work. But it seems like the overcut does seem to work here a little bit better than the undercut, and we'll have to see if that, in fact, becomes the factor later on in this race. Watson's still there, and then they're battling right here with one of the faster Daytona cars as well. Madison Toll, came into the pit lane when she was running in the second position, so it might be a little bit harder to get around that 25 than some of these other Daytona cars that we've seen here tonight.
She is going to hold them up, however, going through the dog leg into the Western Horseshoe. And we'll see if there's any contact there, if she just lets them by. Imagine that she will let them by. And Raymond's still 35 seconds back, so they're not gaining any time on the 20. And the more his tires heat up, the more he's going to catch up to them, and the more this overcut is not going to work. So if I'm them, you got to come down now. I mean, this is the last lap of your window. They've got to be running dry at this point. Both Watson and the 12. And I just can't imagine them not coming down this time by.
Yeah, I mean, they probably can go a couple more laps if they want to, but I just don't know how long you want to stretch it here. They would definitely want to get around the 25, I think, before they come down. It looks like they both will, so I'll have to see when they do, in fact, come down. But I think we still have about 8 guys who have yet to come down the pit lane, maybe 9. The 7 machine, Nathan Stapleton's been a bit off the pace. Actually, Stapleton did come down. Remember, he did make a second stop.
Watson
he
will
is
come
right
down.
now ahead of Cole Raymond there. So Stapleton's kind of still on this cycle, but he's going to have to come down again here soon. He may end up with an extra stop compared to the rest of these guys.
Watson will come down the pit lane. We'll flip back to GT Daytona. There is Roberto Crown Jr. now coming off. We'll pay attention with him. It looks like Crown Jr. might cycle back to the race lead. No, it looks like Tall will actually come out in front. Once timing and scoring updates will get that all together. But Chris Reynolds showing the way here. He still needs to come down, and that's going to bite him in the rear end later, I think. Some contact between the 21 and the 3, and that is really going to affect Roberto Crown Jr.'s aerodynamics. And I'm not sure if we've lost connection with Benny Watson or Alex Graham at all, I should say.
I got him back, but I can't see anything at the moment. But
Well, don't worry, the 06 is still out there. Got a couple of cars coming down, most of the GT Daytona field. We cycle back, and Nathan Stapleton with an issue.
oh, I guess what I was saying about him possibly cycling through was wrong. That's a tough break for him because I think he would have been the race leader, at least for a part of that. Oh, and it looks like, almost looked like Durrani was off the track there for a little bit there, but Trey Smith has fallen off a little bit here as well on the 49, and Cole Raymond's really starting to pull away. Caleb Rose is up there in the second position effectively. I know not everyone has cycled through yet in GTLM, but Cole Raymond's really looking good now in that 20 machine.
Yep, this 06 will come down, but too little too late, as Cole Raymond will fly by Chris Reynolds. Reynolds, unfortunately, going to be up, but that is a really tough break for Stapleton. Not sure what happened to him. He probably cooked it way too hard through the bus stop. That's ultimately probably what sent him around. Fogelman's going to get by. No, it's going to be very close between him and Reynolds, but Cole Raymond setting sail. Brad Stover going by him. Got some dust back in here, and now Stapleton will come back out on the racetrack. But that is a really tough break. He was running relatively up there. He still had to make an extra pit stop, but just a simple mistake in the most vulnerable part of the track for pretty much everybody here.
Yeah, it's a tough break there for Stapleton, but at least he's back out there. And he started off the race fairly well. I mean, led the first 13 laps of the event, but ever since he lost it there, originally the Cole Raymond, I do believe, it's been downhill for him. But, Raymond's doing an excellent job now, and he really pulled away there from Trey Smith. Kind of put 3 seconds on him right there. So Trey Smith falling off a little bit, but, maybe as this run goes along, Trey Smith will pick the speed back up. That's kind of what we saw there before that second cycle, and that's not going to help Cole Raymond.
No, it is
Stover
not.
getting a little racy with him right there.
Caleb Rose with a huge run on the back end of this 20, trying to get a Jaguar back out to the race lead. They'll be side by side at the stripe. Looks like we got some more cars down the pit lane.
Colin Cropley was still out there, 45 as well, and Mitchell Collins was still out there. I hadn't mentioned Collins at all tonight. The 8 machine there of Landon Smith Jr.
So it looks like the leaders will cycle out. And it looks like Caleb Rose will be your race leader after this cycle of pit stops. Wow, what a change.
Yeah, that was not at all. I mean, I thought Cole was going to pull up there, and he couldn't get around Stover, and they still have yet to get around him. That's a Daytona car they're trying to get around, and that 14 is not helping his guys out at all, except maybe if you're Caleb Rose and Trey Smith. They were thankful for that, but now they still got to get around him as well. But that's one of the bigger moments of this race, because Cole Raymond could have easily pulled away, and now he's in the 3rd position with Caleb Rose out front for the first time.
Caleb Rose, Trey Smith, a couple of Mission Barbecue Cup Series veterans here out front, but they're still trying to get around Brad Stover, a veteran of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series back in the day. And now down to the inside will go Caleb Rose, but they've got to be careful going through the inner loop. Stover's going to overcook, and he's going to make some contact with Rose.
And that 49, Trey Smith might try on the... Oh, my goodness.
And now here comes Cole Raymond, 3 wide for GTLM.
They're still going to be stuck behind Stover.
Stover still holding up the leaders. Caleb Rose will fall back to third. And Brad Stover not going to be a friend of anybody in GTLM. Now down to the inside will go Cole Raymond, back for the race lead.
Here.
Still 3 wide. Cole Raymond will take it back. Trey Smith overcooks it just a little bit going through turn 1. Brad Stover giveth, and Brad Stover taketh the race lead away from this 20 car. Wow.
Trey Smith got a lap led there out of all of that. So something happened, but we're now kind of back to where we started. You know, Trey Smith in second now, Caleb Rose in third, but my goodness, that Brad Stover has really been a pain in the neck for these guys. I mean, this has been the hardest, you know, the Le Mans cars have been hit by lap traffic all race long. I want to mention something. Look who's in fourth, Reggie Fogelman. Remember, he had the issue with Emily Bull and GT Daytona earlier on. Sent him down to like 7th or 8th. He's now back up to the 4th position there.
Yeah, great recovery run for this 55 team. And oh, that's going to get real close there. Now it's going to be double jeopardy for Trey Smith and Caleb Rose going through the bus stop.
This is entertaining, and
yeah.
you know, get annoyed when we're on a super speedway and lap traffic becomes an issue, but I think it is an element of road course racing here, and we're seeing that really come into effect. Fogelman now up to second.
Wow.
Look at Logan Alexander there in the 6th. Moving up inside the top 5, and Trey Smith really got held up there in the 49 machine. Had to go on the apron.
Look at Reynolds. Holy crap. He's going to probably gain a good 3 or 4 positions here. Timing and scoring. What a run. Flip back up in here to GT Daytona just for the time being. See a little bit of damage on the back end of that 26. Not sure what the issue is there. But currently Madison Tall leading the way over the 60 machine.
Okay, I mean, Tall's got a huge lead. Remember, she undercut quite a bit on these guys, so have to see if she's able to keep it going there. You know, Chris Reynolds, it kind of reminds me a lot of like those prototypes, you know, in the real life Rolex 24 going through the GT cars, you know, and they do it a lot more gracefully in real life than they do here, but that was a moment. That was one of the moments of all time right there.
Definitely, that definitely was a moment. Now let's go back to GT Daytona, GT Le Mans. Now that we flip back, that's all settled out, but Chris Reynolds now up to the 3rd position after gaining about 3 spots there. Fogelman still in 2nd, Caleb Rose, and Trey Smith, they're going to want to have a word with Brad Stover, who for some reason is still in front of them. I don't know how that's possible, but this is GT Le Mans. Anything can really happen. This Landis Smith Jr.'s got a lot of rear end damage. May have lost. Oh, there we are.
No, I'm still here. I'm sorry. I'm speechless from what happened from earlier on.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I know you are. I'm speechless as well. If you know me, it takes a lot to make me speechless, but what a race we have had so far, and this has been nothing short of, this has probably been the greatest 2.4 we've had here, and just the amount of racing that we have had. Bravo to V8 Thunder for putting together such a great track. And hey, 3rd and 4th installment of this going pretty well here tonight.
Absolutely. It's been an entertaining one. Yeah, I want to mention Reggie Fogelman here in the 56. And remember, he got punted out of the way.
Oh, Riley
into the
Sampson
wall.
with an issue. This isn't going to work in the bus stop, and it is not. Jason Lona going around. Riley Sampson, Henry Wallace, and it looked like Dylan Matthews and maybe John Stewart got a piece of that.
That is one of the worst places having issues. It's too bad the AI don't know to skip the chicane if they have an issue right there. That's a shame right there for some of those guys in the back.
Yeah, but you were talking about Reggie Fogelman, who's now going to lose second to Chris Reynolds. Once again, that Interstate Batteries Corvette coming to life. He is supercharged. He is now up to second.
And they still haven't gotten around Stover. So,
No, they haven't.
I mean, that's really been holding these guys up here. But anyways, I was about to mention, Fogelman. Remember, he got completely punted out of the way in the Western, or no, was it the International?
It was the Western Horseshoe.
Yeah, it was the Western Horseshoe. And, now here he is third. Now he's got to get around here, which I think he might get it here.
He will.
Got it. But Fogelman now kind of in position, after the next cycle of pit stops, he could actually still be a threat to win this race. But watching for these three guys as well, Caleb Rose, Logan Alexander, this is the best he's run all day. How about the 07? This guy we haven't mentioned all race long, Luna Lona there. Highest she's been all race long. Then you got the 4 there, Nathan Ormond. They're top 10 for the first time today. Roy Ribbleton in there. Colin Crowley rounding out the top 10.
Micah Knapp, don't forget him. Cannot forget about him.
Yeah, Micah Knapp there, right there in 11. He's probably been involved in the least amount of things going on today. He's just kind of been there, but still well within the race. And like I said at the top of the show, if you still got a good car, you still got a race car to race with, you're still going to be in contention, I feel like, because, we've seen so many things happen in this race, and it's going to get more intense as the race goes on. And like right there, that could have been disastrous there for Cole Raymond as Dylan Matthews came across the track right there.
That was definitely a moment. That was actually Jason Lona that almost cleared out Cole Raymond trying to go bowling here at 190 mile an hour. Would not recommend doing that. Ryan Durrani is almost going to left rear him into the inside wall. But Cole Raymond, not a whole lot of obstacles in front of him. There's Dylan Matthews, who not sure what happened to him earlier on in the race, but he's been towards the back end of the field and involved in a couple of different accidents. Same with Henry Wallace. It's been bad luck for him all night, but Cole Raymond done a relatively good job of staying out of trouble so far. We've still got about 30 laps to go, at least one more set of pit stops. A lot can still happen here, and a lot is definitely going to happen, I can tell you that, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. It's far from being over. I mean, we're about to enter the last third of the race, and the first 2/3 have been very intense. So many different things have gone on, but I think we're far from done. I don't think Cole Raymond's safe either. I know he's been looking kind of dominant, but we saw right there a glimpse of what could happen trying to get around Brad Stover. And like I said, he's going to run into more lap traffic at some point in this race, and that could be the determining factor who gets this race victory here tonight.
Indeed it will be. They look back in here. Stover still getting past. We'll flip back. Actually, we'll see how Ryan Durrani gets around. Durrani, who was held up there, he's currently a lap down in 29th, so I'm not sure what happened to Durrani there, why he fell off so much, but relatively out of contention for the GT Daytona Championship. So he is not running with these guys. We'll go back to see if we can find her. There's Madison Tall. She currently leads the way in front of Eric Monaco. Got a 2-car lead advantage, over that 60
seconds there for her. So she's got a massive lead. That's like the largest lead we've seen out of anybody all race long. So she's just got to keep it clean. And the good thing is she is in the slower class. So she has a little bit less to worry about in terms of lap traffic. But still a long ways left to go. And you got to keep it clean on the pit stops. But then you got to think, too, she also did that short pit. So we'll have to see if she can actually make it on one more stop in this race, or if she's going to have to go a second time. And that'll just end that strategy right there.
She might be able to. We'll look at the rest of the field. Juan Rodriguez trying to just log laps here. Same with Max Davis. Trying to point out some drivers that haven't really talked about. It's Alex Lozano right behind Nathan Stapleton. There is actually Colin Cropley, or excuse me, Will Parrish. First time we're saying his name here tonight. Not really much the right home for him. Stapleton having his issues. They've been well documented. He's going to get turned to the inside wall. He's
going.
No. And that's how Stapleton's night ends.
Such a shame for Stapleton. You know, he started off the race so well, and that will end his night. That's going to be it for the number 7.
Tough break for Nathan Stapleton. He's got mortal damage. Same thing for Zachary Fitzwater. Of course, he doesn't have the mortal damage part, but still, tough break for him. Currently running all the way down in 17th. And Madison Tall, well, one of your picks is still on the show, and she's currently leading.
Yeah, Tall's been doing a great job. You know, I give her a lot of props. She's been patient in this race. She hasn't been involved in too much. Like her boyfriend there, Nathan Stapleton, that did not work out too well for him. Now, Fitzwater is still on the lead lap.
Fitzwater is indeed on the lead
lap.
lap.
He was kind of running up front earlier on, and it's a tough break for him. You know what happened, but he still has a race car. Landon Smith Jr., you know, he was another guy who was kind of caught up in that, and he was up front earlier on, but he's also fallen way off as well in GTLM. So tough break for a lot of guys in this race, and like we said at the top of the show, it's going to be a race of attrition, and we've seen a lot of attrition so far here in these first 60 laps. Let's see how these last 30 laps end up going here.
We'll have to see, as Fogelman is going to take advantage of the lap car going down to the inside. Dylan Matthews holding up Chris Reynolds. Reynolds now trying to go to the outside around the UPS Cobra. One of 2 Cobras in the field for GT Daytona, the rest running Mustangs. But both Cobras actually having some issues, both Dylan Matthews and the 8 of Jack Ribbleton. And now Ryan Durant is going to get held up. Same with Caleb Rose, Logan Alexander. Alexander's going to try and bomb it to the outside, but he's going to run out of room. And now Caleb Rose, can he get around? No. Now Rose will get blocked down to the inside. Rose, oh, he is almost going to turn Dylan Matthews into the pit wall, and that would have been a fatal accident there. Now 4 wide, going through turn 1. Never thought I'd say that.
Yeah, especially 61 laps into a race as well. That's something else right there. Caleb Rose going to hold off Logan Alexander there, and I think he'll finally get Dylan Matthews. But look at the lead now for Cole Raymond. I mean, 5.5 seconds on the 06 machine there of Chris Reynolds. You know, both Raymond and Reynolds have kind of been the 2 dominant guys in this field, but Raymond has clearly been out in the head. Look at who he's trying to get around, though, now. I mean, we haven't seen him in a while.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Vincent Cleff has been a bit of an issue, but because Raymond's so far out ahead, he's going to get around him pretty easily there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Take a look back in here through the bus stop. There's Colin Bear. He's going to go over the corners, go over the curbs a little bit. Cole Raymond with a huge seismic lead over this 06 of Chris Reynolds. Caleb Rose waiting in the wing. Same with Logan Alexander. And I'm surprised Logan Alexander is still even up here, because he had a little bit of trouble earlier on in the race, but he's able to keep his composure. Now he's going to try and get around this 16, who he might have a little bit of an issue getting around. I thought he was going to turn him there off the corner. Someone down the pit lane, and it is Raymond.
And this could be the beginning of the cycle.
Not sure.
It's a bit early, though. He's right within the window. I mean, we say 25 to 30 laps, and we're within 30 laps, so might be trying to short pit right here, possibly have an opportunity to pull on ahead and taking this one away, but I don't know if it's going to work out too well for him. It could be a fuel mileage race, because that's about 28 laps right there, and that could be quite a bit to make it on one tank of fuel, especially with the tires. The tires could wear out as we go along.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about that one, because he is going to be cutting it very close. So that's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it plays out for him, but that will give the race lead back to Chris Reynolds No introduction is needed for this guy. Been arguably the most dominant car of the night. And we'll have to see how things shake up when he heads down the pit lane. But that is really going to make things interesting here as we close in on the final, like, 15 minutes of the second hour. Check back with GT Daytona. It is still Madison Tall in the lead for that at the moment. But we'll see if anybody else likes to come down the pit lane. Reynolds is exiting NASCAR 3 right now. Caleb Rose, does he come down? Does Logan Alexander come down? The world will know in a few seconds. Reynolds is going to stay out. Rose, everybody's going to stay out for now. Oh boy.
Remember, last cycle, Reynolds stayed out much longer than the rest of the field.
Is this also very true?
Yeah, so he can go much longer here. So we'll have to see if that in fact actually works out for him. Cole Raymond's going to have fresher tires here on this cycle. And he's probably going to be getting some faster speeds. But then again, Cole Raymond's going to be kind of stuck in traffic. And we've seen how that's been a factor in this race. So that might also slow him down.
Doesn't look like...
We'll just have to see, It may work out for Raymond. It may not. But that's why we race and see how it all goes down.
He's down in the 13th position. So as, oh no, Juan Rodriguez has blown up. This could be interesting for these guys going into the bus stop. I'll have to see how that shakes out. Actually, I do want to pay attention to this because this could be disastrous. Roberto Crown Jr., he's going to get around. I don't know why these guys just don't come down. I don't know why he's still in the racing groove, and he's going to get hit. That's Aguirre Sato behind him, and they're going to be right in the middle of the racing groove. Oh, are they going to teleport in time before Reynolds comes in? No, they're not!
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Reynolds is involved. He's going to go around Logan Alexander, Mitchell Collins. Oh, the field is coming around to the bus stop. Will Parrish will go around.
A bit of oil on the track, and that's the downside to not having cautions. But my goodness, the race leader, that is exactly what Caleb Rose wanted.
Oh my god, the dominant car of the night taken out on lap 63, and about 5 other cars joined him. And you're right, that was oil, but no cautions are going to be called, and that is going to throw a huge component into the end of this race with a huge amount of oil on the back straightaway in the bus stop. But the most dominant car of the night, arguably probably the greatest odds of winning, taken out by a GT Daytona car. Color me shocked if you've heard that one before, folks.
Yeah, the GT Daytona class has really been a factor in the GT Le Mans class here tonight, no doubt about it. One thing I will say, Cole Raymond came down the pit lane. There's a very good chance that Cole Raymond could have been the one in position when that occurred, and Raymond could have been the one that ended up getting caught up, but that wasn't the case. And, Raymond's still out there. He's got his third stop under his belt, and he may be able to make it to the end, so that strategy may have worked out very well for him.
It could have. We'll just have to see how everything shapes up later in the race, but I am still very much in shock over that. It looks like Reggie Fogelman, he may have come down the pit lane, so he's probably got his final stop. Same with Trey Smith, Micah Knapp. There's Will Parrish. He was caught up in that 63 dust-up. Actually, let's go to the battle for GT Daytona. That is knotting up a little bit there between Madison Tall and looks like Clark Beyond the third will come up there. And oh no! Actually, I thought Cole Raymond got into the 8 machine, but they're going to keep it straight. And now here comes the pit stops. Caleb Rose on the pit lane. They're trying to repair that 06, and just as I say that, he's going to go to the garage area. Tough break for Chris Reynolds, but his loss is Caleb Rose's gain. And with less than 30 laps to go, this should be the final stop for Caleb Rose.
It'll be interesting to see if he can in fact pull this one off. And look at who we had in the race lead now, Luna Lona.
Luna Lone on the lead for the first time
She's been all
tonight.
race long. Where did she end up starting in this race? Yeah, she started in 22nd. She started dead last in this field. You know, I remember I mentioned at the top of the show, I was talking about Mike and App, you know, anyone in this field can win this race. It was a long enough race. Well, this is exactly what I was talking about. She started last in this class, and now she's leading this field. Now, albeit she does have to make a pit stop, and you got some guys who've already made their pit stops, but, you know, great job out of Luna Lona just staying out of trouble here tonight. And obviously we've seen a lot of that trouble, especially as we've gotten later on into this event.
Yeah, I saw some tire tracks through NASCAR 2, so we'll have to check back at the replay or the recap after that. But Luna Lona, she does still have to come down the pit lane, so don't be placing your bets just yet. But like you said, Lona started 22nd on the grid, 21st 21st out of 21 GT Daytona drivers. Remember, Roberto Crown Jr. qualified towards the front of the field, but hey, she's might be in a decent position to at least get a decent run going. But hey, Roy Ribbleton, he's in a good spot. Actually, no, Mitchell Collins, he was caught up in the lap 63 shebang, as we'll call it. So he's out of contention. Nathan Orman, he's battling there. Not sure where the 84 is. Oh, there's Alex Lozano, currently running in the 5th spot. And hey, your driver, Benny Watson, he is
Even
up
with
there.
the damage, they're in 3rd. Battle, though, for the 3rd position with Nathan Ormond. Chris Watson, you know, guy. He made it. It's just interesting. A lot of the drivers at GTLM have been involved in somebody else's mistake. Watson took himself out.
Yeah.
That was 100% on Watson there. So kind of interesting to see that he's been like the only one that's actually been, you know, at fault for his troubles in tonight's event. But, you know, he's still there. He's still in contention, you know, with how crazy things have been. We saw Chris Reynolds get knocked out right there. Could still be in contention to possibly win this thing.
Yeah, and I've got good news for everybody. I did not see Jim Vincentcliff on the racetrack, and we are hearing reports that the incident in NASCAR Turn 2 was between the 78 and the 3, so Colin Cropley probably going to be getting a Medal of Honor after this race for taking out Jim Vincentcliff, who was really just a thorn in everybody's side. But thankfully, we'll not have him be in the way, but we are going to have quite a few lap down cars being in the way of everybody else. But Logan Alexander, one of the cars, caught up in that lap 63 fray. He was going to be scored 1 lap down. I'm surprised Lona's stayed out this far. I believe Ribbleton, he's 7 seconds back, so probably too late to make things happen. But hey, we still got a long ways to go and a short time to get there, closing in on the 2nd hour mark of this race already.
It's been a race, no doubt about it. It's been a fun race. I mean, we've had a lot of different leaders in the GT Le Mans class here tonight. It's been excellent. Sammy Madison Toll still leading there in the GT Daytona. We really haven't focused too much on that class here tonight, but Madison Toll just had a nice, quiet night so far. I mean, like I mentioned, she tore pit earlier on, but here she is, just kind of comfortably leading this GT Daytona.
Speak of the devil.
field.
Speak of the devil,
There you
she's
go.
going to come in.
And she'll be able to make it to the end easily from here. And everyone else is going to have to make another stop. So she's going to be fine. She's in a good position right now. So as long as she doesn't have something like what happened to Chris Reynolds happen to her, she could easily pull away with the GT Daytona win.
So right now, GT Daytona, Clark Biano III is going to be in front of the 60 car of Eric Monaco. We'll check back and see. Owen Miles is running there in 3rd for the class, so watch out for him. Flipping back to, whoa boy, brakes might be going back sour. Brakes might be souring once again there for John Stewart in the 75. Going a little Travis Pastrana style there through the bus stop.
It'll be interesting to see as you see Roy Ribbleton's down the pit lane. That's one of the guys who was kind of running up front right there. Obviously, the guy to watch out for is that 20 machine of Cole Raymond, who's only 25 seconds off the race lead. So when everyone ahead of him pits, he's going to be clear out and ahead, no doubt about it. Really, the only other guy to really watch out for, I think, is Caleb Rose. And Caleb Rose is nowhere near that 20 machine at the moment. But the thing is, can Cole Raymond make it to the end? Because he came in super early. Almost about 28 laps left to go in the race, and I don't think we've really seen anyone go 28 laps yet in this race. So did he pack in enough fuel, and will the tires be good near the end?
That really is going to be the
Because
million-dollar
all these guys
question.
are going to be coming down here. They're going to have much fresher tires near the critical part of the race.
Trying to find where Luna Lona is. There she is. I believe she's going to have to come down this time by because she is fairly toward her numbers. She'll probably go a little bit further than that.
Yeah, she's still out there with the 4. Warman's still out there. Watson's still out there. Well, remember Watson. Now, Chris Reynolds and Benny Watson came down. Actually, Reynolds came down later than Watson. But Watson came down a little late as well. We got, Orman's coming down, and Watson will take second, trying to get around some GT Daytona cars.
Clean
Yikes.
second there for Watson, so he will take second. I imagine Lona will probably come down in the next handful of laps. There's Madison Tall, who should come out to the race lead, or for GT Daytona, rather. We'll focus here with Benny Watson here for a second. You've been talking like Benny Watson. I mean, I know he's you, but been spending quite a few years with Benny Watson. Was a development driver, now is your main driver. So been a pretty good, probably 10 or so years with Watson under your wing, Alex.
Not quite that long, but he's been racing a while. I really can't say much about his. He won the Almond Joy Series championship in the NSCRA ages ago.
Oh God,
but,
that's a throwback.
That's all I can remember. In terms of a championship. Obviously, he's run a lot. Over on Nathan stuff in the JPL Cup Series and things like that. He's got a lot of experience over there. Actually, I think second all time on Nathan's list. So that's really where Watson's gotten the majority of his experience. But obviously, a great run for him here tonight, running second right now.
Madison
gets a win.
Oh no!
GT
Madison
Daytona
Tall.
race leader, and just like I was saying,
Oil.
there's someone else in the back there also.
Oh, and Cole Raymond is also going to go around.
Oh, no. And it's Oil again.
So is the 8 machine, and
goodness.
that Oil striking bad. Full field is striking Oil now, and a lot of damage to Cole Raymond, and now that is going to give the race
There's your
lead to
pass.
Caleb Rose. Wow.
Wow.
So both leaders would cycle
Second
out to be the
time in,
leaders.
8 laps had and shoot with Oil right there.
And that was both leaders, both for both classes, I should say. That was going to be the leader once they cycled out. Wow. Wow.
Rose may not actually end up being the leader here. It may actually be Fogelman who's kind of ahead of him right there. I don't know if Fogelman's come in for his third stop or not, but considering the way the gap is on the timing, I think he might actually be in position to possibly get this win. And that's such a tough break for Madison Tall there. I mean, I don't know if the Oil was already there and Tall got caught up in it or not, but at least she didn't completely total her car like Cole Raymond did. And that's the two guys. Cole Raymond and Chris Reynolds were the two dominant guys in this race, and both of them had issues. And it's 2.4 hours. You got to make it to the end, and I think that's what we're seeing here.
Absolutely. It looks like Mitchell Collins, he is going to be slow. He's going to hold up Fogelman. So Luna Lona still out there. Fogelman being held up. We'll see if Fogelman, if he wrecks here through the bus stop. Hopefully he will not. And it looks like they will keep us straight. Caleb Rose, he and Trey Smith will keep it straight. Trey Smith, he's still in contention for this one.
Yeah. There's so many things have happened, and he's just right back in it. So, oh boy.
Oh, Fogelman! Yeah, he's going to keep it off.
That was a moment. They kept it together, but my goodness, they're just starting to get super aggressive now. And they know the race is coming to an end, here in about 18 laps. And there's Luna Lona. She's coming off, and I think, unless the 12 machine came down there of Benny Watson, I think the lead might finally go to the 56 of Fogelman. But Now
No, I
he's
believe
got
Watson's-
Caleb Rose right on his back bumper.
Watson has yet to pit. I believe he's probably going to come down within the next couple of laps or so.
Maybe the game can crash right now on Watson.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that, Slim Jim, but what I do know is it looks like Clark Bianco the third, Owen Miles, the 60 of Eric Monaco, and Nathan Buchanan. It looks like it's going to be a four-car battle for this GT Daytona win, with Madison Tall and Ryan Durrani both being taken out. Flip back to the GT Daytona lead, GT Le Mans lead, which I believe is going to go to Fogelman. That was a close call between Emily Bull in a China shop and Fogelman. I know that's going to be a close moment between a couple deuce aces. It's going to hold up 12 machine.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how long Watson's going to stay out here. But he's going to have to make another stop in this race before we're all said and done here tonight. So, yeah, it's been really fascinating how everything has kind of played out, because so many of the guys who have been dominant in this race have had issues, and it's almost, it's a leader jinx. That's what it is, and it's going to be fascinating to see, if it in fact stays that way. But
yeah, and
I have a good feeling about Caleb Rose. Knock on wood, I know it's still a long ways to go and a lot can happen, but I really have a good feeling about Caleb Rose here. You can have a good shot at this one.
I don't know. I mean, Luna, she could cycle out to the race end. You can't forget about Fogelman, who arguably next to the probably the third car in line GT Le Mans that has been the strongest. Of course, the top two of Chris Reynolds and Cole Raymond being taken out. But flipping back up to the 12 as we approach the second hour gone, we're going to see if Benny Watson comes down the pit lane this time by. And regardless, I am being told we are going to go to commercial break here, regardless if the 12 comes down the pit lane or not. So see if he comes down. But just in case, your top five are GT Le Mans on the left-hand side of your screen, and Watson will come down. So we will enter this commercial break with your leader for GT Le Mans being Caleb Rose in the 5. And your leader for GT Le Mans, or GT Daytona rather.
Fogelman's the leader.
Fogelman is the race leader. So Fogelman, your race leader here for GT Le Mans. GT Daytona is Clark Bianco the third. We'll be back in just a few moments here. You're watching the Mike's Hard Lemonade 2.4 Hours of Daytona on the North American Sim Racing Network.
You can run, but you can't hide, bitch! Surprise, motherfucker! Giggity, giggity! You are dead!
Welcome back to the North American Sim Racing Network's coverage of the Mike's Hard Lemonade 2.4 Hours of Daytona. Hour number 2 has wrapped up, and it was a doozy to say the least. Starting off with a close call for the GT Daytona leaders of Ryan Durrani and John Stewart, making contact in turn 4 on lap 39. 3 laps later, Stewart would have a massive mechanical failure in turn 7, losing brake pressure and falling out of contention. While battling for the GTLM lead, the 12 of Benny Watson would make contact on the wall with the S's, leading to a lengthy pit stop for repairs on the next cycle. Roberto Crown Jr., the dominant driver of the night for GT Daytona, was involved in an incident on lap 51, leaving the door wide open for the class victory, and Alex Lozano would take out Nathan Stapleton on lap 58 in the same area on the track. And finally, all hell would break loose on the inner loop, starting on lap 55 with Riley Sampson, Dylan Matthews, and other making contact, but nothing was compared to the chaos on lap 63, in which the 066 of Juan Rodriguez blew an engine, leaving oil all over the bus stop, and being railroaded by the 06 of Chris Reynolds. GTLM leader at the time Reynolds, GTLM contender Cole Raymond, and an abundance of other drivers were taken out in the lap 63 fray. Finally, one lap later, Colin Crawford and Jim Vincent Clutch would tangle in NASCAR Turn 2, taking the 78 machine out of the race. And just before we left for commercial, Benny Watson headed down the pit lane for his final stop of the night. So let's jump back in the action for the final laps of the 2023 Mike's Hard Lemonade 2.4 Hours of Daytona. Welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway for the Mike's Hard Lemonade 2.4 Hours of Daytona. Trey Ray alongside Alex Graham, and we've got a new race leader, Caleb Rose, taking advantage of lap traffic in the bus stop. Alex, you might be right about Caleb Rose winning this one.
To see, but definitely, lap traffic again, king in the way of Fogelman right there. But, I said Caleb Rose is my pick, but you can't count out Trey Smith either. He's very clutch in these big events, and he could be a threat to win as well. Watch out for the 07 Aluna Lona as well. She's not too far behind these guys if things get crazy enough, and obviously we've seen two of our main dominant guys get wrecked out while pretty much being in prime position to win this race. So it's really anybody's race at this point. Micah Knapp is there in 5th, less than 5 seconds behind. I'd keep an eye on him as well. Keep an eye on him now.
Oh, boy.
Get around Logan Alexander right there. He's got an issue.
No, I think he was just running the apron. That's something that these guys do. I don't know why they do it on this track, but now he's going to come down the pit lane. I don't believe he pit yet before we left. I know Benny Watson, as we were leaving, Benny Watson pit, so Fogelman was in the lead. So I don't believe Micah Knapp pit yet, and now Trey Smith, he's come down the pit lane, and so is Fogelman. Now remember, Caleb Rose did pit on lap 65, so he's really going to be cutting it close, especially Luna Lona. She pit under commercial, if I'm not mistaken, so she's going to have a lot fresher tires as she gets around the 8 of Jack Ribbleton. And she is rapidly catching up to this 5 machine. So Luna Lona might be in the catbird seat to actually win this one.
Yeah, absolutely. She's really closing in on Caleb Rose right now. And this strategy worked very well. We know that she can make it to the end. Caleb Rose is a bit of a question at this point as well. So, it's far from being over. That's the thing. We've seen so many things happen to our race leaders. I mean, Stapleton dominated the first part of this race, and he had all of his issues, and then of course we saw Chris Reynolds and then Cole Raymond both get wrecked out, both right around the chicane. That's going to be the trouble spot, I feel like, if anything else happens. But it's going to be interesting to see how it all goes down. But Luna Lona is really in a good position right now to kind of steal this win away, but she's got to be careful here, trying to get around the 84.
And the 25, she's going to get sandwiched, almost gets sent up into the outside wall by Madison Tall, who I don't think Tall lost a whole lot of time. She is a lap down, though, as Luna Lona will smack the outside wall going into turn 1. So Tall is going to be knocked out of contention, but she's still 4th.
She's 5th. Yeah, she's 5th in GT Daytona.
She is 5th,
so
excuse me.
She's a lap down in the entire race. She's not actually that far off the 22 of Clark Biano. So Biano's in a good position now. I mean, there's been a lot less drama in the GT Daytona class, and he may actually be in a good position with a 4-second lead there ahead of Eric Monaco. But Monaco's been a guy who's been up front in GT Daytona pretty much the entire race, and he's just not really been able to taste the lead that much here, but he could be in a good position if things go awry.
Indeed, he could be. Hey, we still got a long ways to go. About 24 laps remaining in this event. It's been a long night. It has been a grueling night. I want to go to bed. I know you want to go to bed, as at the time we record this, we're approaching 10:30 here on the East Coast. So
we actually have 15 laps to go, not 25. So
15, exactly.
14 laps to go. So Yeah, we're really in crunch time here. So it's going to
Yeah.
be fascinating to see how this all goes down. But Luna really in a good position, I feel like, in GT Le Mans.
Flip back to GT Le Mans. Now Caleb Rose, she's still gaining on that 5 car, and I think it's just a matter of time because she came down at lap 72. And you are right, there are 13 laps to go. Like I was saying, it has been a long night. This is the marathon race that I always love doing, but when it comes to actually recording it, I dread doing because it's 5 hours, realistically, because I do this ahead of time, kind of like, and all that. So I gotta watch that, and then I gotta do the actual recording. So it's a strain. It's really a strain. I kind of wish that I did it the way that you do it. I might do that for next year. But my God, regardless, it has still been such a good race tonight. A lot of carnage, a lot of action, and it could come down to the wire based on pit strategy.
Absolutely could. Caleb Rose is actually pulling away right now from Luna Lona. And you got to think lap traffic is also going to play a factor to this as well, regardless if they crash the leaders or not. So it's something to keep in mind, and that may not actually fare too well for Caleb Rose because, you know, he can make the way for Luna Lona if Luna Lona closes in on him for that race lead. But so many things that happened tonight, especially through that chicane. That's been the trouble spot, especially for the GT Le Mans guys. I mean, even Reggie Fogelman had his issue in the Western Horseshoe. So you see Cole Raymond there, who could have very well just driven away with this race if he did not lose it there, getting into the oil into the chicane. Is he still on the lead lap there?
He's about to fall a lap down as Will Parrish will come out of the pit lane. Battle for third heating up in the GT Daytona category between Nathan Buchanan and Owen Miles. Owen Miles currently in the Mitsubishi Cup Series. Nathan Buchanan was only in the 2020 season for the MBCS, but still a veteran nonetheless. Caleb Rose, who, speaking of the MBCS, Caleb Rose doesn't exactly have the best of luck, and he might have hit the unlucky draw when it came to pit strategy, as Lona is now 2 seconds back. She gained a half second that time by, so clock is ticking for Caleb Rose. As we come around to 11 laps to go next time by, it's only a matter of time at this point.
Yeah, it absolutely is, I feel like. And with the live traffic, I think that's going to play a big factor. You got Roy Ribbleton in third in that class, and then Nathan Ormond, Benny Watson there in fifth. You know, Watson could still have an opportunity. I mean, all these guys can have an opportunity, but I mentioned Watson because he's my driver. They can all still have an opportunity if things really go awry between the top two. And, you know, we still got 11 laps to go. And I say that because of what happened to the poor race leaders those 2 times. So, just have to see. I mean, I would imagine Luna Lona is just going to be able to pull this one off.
I don't know.
But, you know, seeing what we've seen tonight, it's not over till it's over.
Indeed, it is not. And just like that, Owen Miles is almost going to hook Landon Smith Jr. into the wall. And, oh, I thought he was going to take him down to the infield. Remember 2021 Benny Watson flipped over in the infield, and ironically Nathan Ormond's ride. And speaking of old rides, that is Griffin Lynn's car that he won in back in 2018 for GT Daytona, and that is in front of that 5 machine now. The gap is down to car length rather than seconds for Caleb Rose and Luna Lona. A lot of dirty air and a lot of lap traffic in front of this 5, and that is absolutely going in the green for Luna Lona. She's probably going to get around this 5 by the time they take the 10 to go.
Yeah, it looks like that might be the case here. So now what do you do if you kill Caleb Rose? Because you can't make it out of the pit stop and get tires with 10 laps to go.
You just hope and pray at this point. I mean, we've seen a lot happen tonight, and like you said, it's not over till it's over. I know second sucks, but second really sucks. And Luna Lona trying to give Corvette their 4th win in a row for GT Le Mans. Actually, GT Daytona as Caleb Rose almost got bodied by Nathan Buchanan. And now that's going to be a pick for the 07. And Caleb Rose, he's on the apron. He's going to be hopping to the race lead in GT Le Mans. Goes Luna Lona. And that was inevitable, honestly. I mean, with the old tires, the 7-lap difference of tires between Lona and Rose. And unfortunately, that's just the way the news goes. So now GT Daytona. Still Clark Biano the third. He's got a green racetrack in front of him, with the exception of the 11 of Lyle Austin, who he has seen his fair share of action tonight, that is for sure. So Biano the third's not out of the woods just quite yet, that's for certain.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to see what he can do here. Monaco, I feel like Monaco might actually get that because Monaco's just been up front. You know, we haven't really seen, you know, a driver just stay within that top 3 the whole night, except for Eric Monaco. Monaco's been the guy, most consistent driver this entire race here tonight, and I feel like he wants that to pay off in a big reward here, but just have to see if he can close into Biano there before the end of this race.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if he does. Right now, Luna Lona logging laps. She's behind Owen Miles, closing in on 9 laps to go in this 2.4-hour race. It's felt like 5 hours here. It has been a long one. It has been a fun one, and it's been an exciting one. That is for sure. As we flip through the field, there is Micah Knapp, currently running in the 10th position. Top 10 run for the first winner in GT Le Mans. At GT Le Mans. A good run for him. Some action here as there's Reggie Fogelman, who has fallen down to 9th. Not sure if there was an issue with him.
You know, through all of this, look, Fitzwater's up there in the 6th position now. Great run for him after what all happened to him earlier on. You know, he's kind of hung in after he had his issue there playing at the beginning, early on in the race, I should say. You know, he's really just kept it clean, and you know, he's in this position where he is. Could get a top 5 out of this one.
Could very well get a top 5, but right now it is Luna Lona closing up on Dylan Matthews here on lap 81. Caleb Rose. Second sucks, but unfortunately that's probably what the result is going to be. Roy Ribbleton going to try and probably finish this race in 3rd. Flip back to the rest of the Daytona field. Solid run for Nathan Orman in the 4. Cole Raymond, his issues have been well documented. Luna Lona trying to get around this 26 car. He's been an issue all night. And they're actually going to catch up to the 60 car. Oh, that's going to be some contact. Oh, and oh no, she's going to go around! Does Caleb Rose get involved? No, he doesn't.
And this is what I was saying.
The leader jinx. Someone call NASCAR Nixon. We've got to make a compilation video.
It's been like the 4th time
oh my
that
God.
has happened in GT Le Mans between the leader there. And now Caleb Rose has got to make it to the... Yeah, that's kind of it. Now, the thing is, when did he come in? Was it lap 65?
65. So,
yeah,
he's going to be
65. He should be able to make it, but the thing is, you know, the tire wear is just so bad. I think at the end of these runs, I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing so many issues as well. So we're just going to have to see. Roy Ribbleton may be in a good position.
Well, remember, Ribbleton...
I don't know. I don't want to be the leader in this race. Than what I've seen so far here tonight.
No, we know Caleb Rose's bad luck has been well documented in the Mission Barbecue Cup Series, so Roy Ribbleton might be looking like a snack here in that 36, and he's got fresher tires, so we'll have to see how he plays out with this 5 car, but I just can't believe that. And that didn't even happen in the bus stop. That happened in turn 4. And
that's like the first time we've seen anything really happen there all night, and we've seen that kind of clip almost almost happened off a turn 4. But that's the first time it actually went all the way and actually became a wreck. So it's a tough break for Luna Lona. I mean, she came from the last position in the class to get to the race lead, and she didn't get too much damage. She'll be able to still get a good run out of this, but I don't think she's going to get the race victory.
Unfortunately not, and she's still in 4th, so she's not coming down the pit lane. So, hey, the way things are going, I don't blame her for trying to stay out and make something happen. I mean, aerodynamics are pretty shot. And, oh, well, she's not going to learn her lesson. She's almost going to turn around Emily Bull there. As Madison told, 3 ladies kind of running together right here. Here's some contact between Ribbleton and Parrish, so that might be the gain of the 5 car. But Caleb Rose, he has got a mammoth lead over Roy Ribbleton. I'm trying to remember. I think Roy Ribbleton actually pitted earlier around laps 69, 68, so his tires aren't as fresh as I thought they were. But, man, what a bizarre, bonkers race we have had here tonight, Alex.
Yeah, it's really strange. It's not over yet, too, you know. I knowing how Caleb Rose has the luck that he has, and knowing how the leaders in this race have had the luck that they've had, I feel like anyone that's led over 10 laps in this race has had a wreck. I just don't know. I mean, the good thing for Caleb Rose is, we're coming to 4 to 6 laps to go, I should say. So, there's less time for something to happen, but he's got to really stretch it on worn tires at the end here, and that could become an issue. You got the 4 Machine and Nathan Orman there. Haven't talked too much about them all night long. They're in a podium position right now. And then Benny Watson's still top 5 in this race there. And those 5 guys, even Luna Lona, are kind of still within some bit of range if something happens. Fitzwater's a little ways behind there, 21 seconds off. And then you got the 49 as well.
Close call there for Watson through turn 3 and 4.
Trey Smith. But I don't know. That was a close one.
Was indeed. Right now, Lona probably going to end up finishing 5th. Watson will probably end up 4th unless something else happens. Which, hey, we have no idea if anything is going to happen. But Caleb Rose is actually putting time on Roy Ribbleton, as we got 5 laps to go next time by. Ribbleton having trouble getting around Dylan Matthews and Will Parrish, 2 lap down cars with significant damage. But flipping back to GT Daytona, and it looks like this might be open and shut for
Nothing's
22.
Open,
no, it's not. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx it. I'm knocking on wood.
Admittedly, GT Daytona has been a lot more calm than Le Mans has, but still, Madison Toll was leading, and she spun in the chicane. So Clark Biano's got to be careful here in these last 5 laps.
Indeed, he does. Flipping back through the rest of the field. There's Micah Knapp, like we said, trying to find where John Stewart is, and that's a logjam right here going through the bus stop. We'll see how everybody fares going through.
That's tight.
Ooh, that is going to be real tight. Watson trying to make it 3 wide through turn 4. It looks like he's going to between Landon Smith Jr. and the 98 of Gil Samia. Have not mentioned his name at all tonight. Kind of just been the theme of this for Samia. And there's Madison Tall, and there's John Stewart. Finally located him. But tough break for both of those drivers, and that was a close call there. Again. Now here's some contact. Someone going around.
Oh,
and
no.
That is Landon Smith Jr. and Gil Samia.
Issue for him.
Going around, and Landon Smith Jr.'s bad night continues. Lot of front-end damage to the U.S. Army 8. Griffin Lynn ain't gonna like that. You're driving his car dirty, or at least not driving it dirty, but getting caught up in accidents. But hey, the action is all over the track here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We got 5 laps to go, coming around to 4 to go. And this race is still far from over. We got over 10 miles of racing to go here. And it's still anybody's game. I know Caleb Rose he's got a 7-second lead over this 36 car. But hey, he's going to bump draft Owen Miles, who's still fighting for GT Daytona, funny enough. That's how it goes. Oh, he's almost going to turn him.
Man, I tell you what, they've really been impatient, and you can't be impatient at this point in the race. It's such a, I don't know. I want to say it's a tough race because I almost thought he wrecked there, but he didn't, obviously. But he's just got to be careful, and he's going to lose a little bit of time there to Roy Robertson because of that. Caleb Rose just needs to be careful. He's been up front for quite a bit in this race as well. Talking about Eric Monaco and GT Daytona kind of staying inside that top three. While Caleb Rose hasn't been top three most of the race, once he got up front, he kind of stayed up there. See here, Monaco trying to close back in, but
Monaco needs that.
It's going to be interesting to see if he can avoid doing that again.
Yeah, and Caleb Rose is still trying to get around this 43. I'm not sure if Biano's gaining a whole lot of time on this. I think he's probably used up a lot more of his stuff. It's not Biano Ribbleton, my apologies. Biano still up in the lead, but he's having to deal with lap traffic left and right. He's trying to get around this one machine of Jason Lona. And now he's going to lose one to Lyle Austin. That's going to open the door for the 60. And through the bus stop. A little close there. And now Caleb Rose just going to let the 43 back off there of Owen Miles. Those guys, rivals on the Mission Barbecue Cup Series circuit. I'll give them that. And there's still rivals on here. But Owen Miles knows when to hold him, knows when to fold him. And the battle for GT Daytona in front of him. So still a long ways to go.
And Monaco's kind of getting stuck behind the lap traffic here. Monaco just starting to close in a little bit.
And that time by, we'll see what the interval is. Oh, hold your horses. Don't be breaking the champagne out just yet. Roy Ribbleton gained 3 seconds that last time by. So this is far from over in GT Le Mans, and it is absolutely far from over in GT Daytona. And funny enough, both of these battles are happening relatively at the same portion of the track. So the question is,
if they're not, they could actually be finished right next to each other the way this is going, because those two Le Mans guys, they're closing in quite a bit here, I feel like, on the GT Daytona guys. And I don't know, that could become a factor. They can have those two battling right with each other right at the end of the race.
Yeah, and that, I know we had that back in 2021. We didn't have that last year, where it was just John Stewart taking advantage of people dying left and right. That was like a lap after Logan Williams took the checkered flag for GT Le Mans. But this is going to get spicy right here through 3 and 4. Do we have another incident between Lyle Austin and Clark Biano the third? A couple of Vipers getting together. Dodge looking for its second win in the event. And oh no, down to the inside goes the 11. They are going to go.
Oh my goodness.
Another leader jinx, and that is going to give the lead to Eric Monaco with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, right at the end of the race, too. That is such a heartbreaker for Biano. And, I was a little surprised that happened, especially where it did. That's like the first time we've seen anything going into turn 1 tonight. But those are 2 GT Daytona cars getting into each other there. And the speed difference isn't as much between those two as it is for the Le Mans cars and the Daytona cars. That's why we saw what happened with Luna Lona and then even Caleb Rose a little bit later on. So, wow. Monaco, Monaco does, not to say anything against Clark Biano. I think he deserves the win as well. But Monaco has just raced such a clean race. He's been up front this whole race. He really does truly deserve this win, because just been the most consistent guy all night long in that number 60 machine.
Indeed he has. And now that Viper Dodge looking for their 3rd win in a row. And it looks like they're going to get it with Eric Monaco coming to the white flag this time by for GT Le Mans with Caleb Rose. But hey, I don't know. It's still too close to call. It's still 3 seconds, which is quite a bit on the racetrack. Quite a bit of ground there, so it's not quite over for Caleb Rose, but I'm not sure if Roy Ribbleton is able to get there in time. We're coming to the white flag this time by, so anything can still happen in either class. But it looks like Eric Monaco might cruise home unless he catches up to this 45 car. But Caleb Rose will get around Austin. It's a white flag in the air one more time around the Daytona International Speedway for Caleb Rose. Here comes Roy Ribbleton.
He really closed in that last lap. If he does that again, he might get to him.
I don't know. He's over the humps.
Monaco's still got 2 laps in GT Daytona if he is ahead of all these guys. But so he's got to be careful about that.
Well, I believe the way the game works, if...
Yeah, you know what, you got a point. Well, no, I mean, you got to think, Clark Biano's still, if he still finishes ahead of Caleb Rose here, then he's going to have another lap as well. So they're both going to run an entire another lap if they both finish ahead of Caleb Rose right here. But that's the interesting thing about these guys being right next to each other. I watch out for Roy Ribbleton. Of course, he's in the middle lap traffic right now, and Caleb Rose generally has a clean racetrack ahead of him. That it may be safe to say Caleb Rose might get this one.
I believe so, and it doesn't look like, yeah, Roy Ribbleton still has 2 cars to pass, and a clean green racetrack out in front for Caleb Rose. Through the bus stop for the final time tonight. Roy Ribbleton still a 1.5 seconds back. We'll check back up in here, and oh no, Eric Monaco! Can he keep it straight? No, he cannot! Monaco is going to go around! And so coming off the final corner, Biano will pass him, and Caleb Rose for GT Le Mans, excuse me, will get the win. Jaguars' first win in the 2.4 hours. And Biano was not passed, but I believe Caleb Rose, he lapped down every other member of GT Daytona. So I believe that's officially going to give the win to Clark Biano. Yes, he is the only GT Daytona car not a lap down. So Clark...
He's just taking a victory lap at this point, even though he's still officially going on out there. If Monaco...
No, Monaco's not racing.
All he needed to do was take the white flag and then run it around. And right before taking the white flag, he got taken out.
And you see there on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, it was Jack Ribbleton in the 08 getting contact, and he almost kept it around, but Mitchell Collins in the 45 turning him around. Leader jinx. That's the overall theme of this race, and both winners taking full advantage of that. We'll watch the 22 take the checkered flag. But Caleb Rose doing it for GT Le Mans. Not GT Daytona, GT Le Mans. And a first for Jaguar. Their first win in this event in 5 years. Incredible run for them. Let's hopefully he doesn't run up on Mitchell Collins. But Clark Biano III will take the checkered flag here. And Biano III takes Dodge to victory lane here. But Caleb Rose getting it done for GT Daytona. What a race. What a finish. Alex, we've got so much to debrief here.
That was one of the races of all time. I really don't know what to say there. I think Monaco should have, and we even almost saw it with Caleb Rose. Luna Lona did it as well. I mean, there was such a bad leader jinx at the end of this race. You know, it's fascinating, too, because the first, 13, 14 laps, they were all just generally single file. And then all of a sudden, everything just went haywire. And, very fascinating race. Caleb Rose was a very dominant driver, though. I feel like he absolutely deserves it. He ran a very good race after starting, I think, in the 13th position. Good job out of Caleb Rose. And Biano started midway through in GT Daytona. And Monaco started on the pole. I mean, Monaco was up front that entire race and then just blew it at the end.
Yeah, unfortunately for him. So take a look at your standings.
Yeah, it's just a fun race, though.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely fun race.
Once again, the chaos just coming to full completion here, especially in the final 2 hours. But take a look at your finishing results for GT Le Mans first. Caleb Rose gets done. Roy Ribbleton a second off, but he will get silver. Nathan Orman rounds out your podium. Benny Watson, Luna Lona round out your top 5. Great recovery for Luna Lona, but unfortunately, she is not standing on top of the podium. Zachary Fitzwater, a great response for him. He's in 6th. Trey Smith 7th. Reggie Fogelman in 8th. Colin Cropley, we did not see him at all tonight. He is in 9th, and rounding out your top 10 is Micah Knapp in the number 64 machine. Braden Perez, did not see him at all either tonight. He's in 11th. And then Will Parrish in 12th. 13th goes to Cole Raymond. 14th, Alex Lozano. 15th is Logan Alexander. 16th, Will Parrish. 16th is Alex Lozano. 17th. Actually, no, I believe we missed Alex Lozano. I don't know. You just see the rest of the finishing order. This is out of order because I did a screenshot here on this piece of paper. We see all the way down at the bottom, Jeff Vincentcliff, Nathan Stapleton, Chris Reynolds, Landon Smith Jr., a couple of really good cars, especially Chris Reynolds being taken out on that lap 63, just fustercluck in the bus stop. Nathan Stapleton, he led the first 13 laps, and he's going to be the last car in GT Le Mans here tonight. Now go to your GT Daytona results with Clark Biano III, the only car on the lead lap in GT Daytona. That's an incredible feat on its own. We got Owen Miles, Nathan Buchanan, that rounds out your podium. Eric Monaco, who was in the lead. He doesn't even get a podium spot at the end. That is a tough break for Eric Monaco. Madison Tall, Roberto Crown Jr., Brad Stover, Gil Samia, Henry Wallace, Ryan Durrani, who was up there towards the beginning of the event. Same with Roberto Crown Jr. Tough for those guys as well. But Mark Davis, Riley Sampson, Jason Lona, Lyle Austin, who was up in the thick of it incident-wise, Emily Bull in a China shop, Jack Ribbleton, John Stewart, your defending champion. He finishes 34th overall. Dylan Matthews, Aguirre Sato, Juan Rodriguez, and Carter Joey with an ignition issue round out your GT Daytona. So final thoughts on this race, Alex. Incredible race all around, and hey, here's to next year. But just final thoughts on this race and final thoughts on Caleb Rose and Clark Biano going to Gatorade Victory Lane for GT Le Mans and GT Daytona, respectively.
Yeah, I mean, what a way to begin the new year with NR racing. You know, we're about a week away from the 20th anniversary of this game, and it gave us a good one. It did what it does best. I mean, we had everything that an NR race has, basically, here tonight, and what a race it was. Caleb Rose, like I said, really deserved the win. I feel like he did an excellent job in this race, kind of just staying right in there. I mean, he almost lost a shot himself, and Clark Biano, we all thought he lost it there, and then Monaco had his issue and got spun around there. But just a fascinating race, just an absolutely fascinating race. I don't know, I'm kind of speechless over all that happened there. I'm surprised that so many leaders had issues in this event, and it's such a leader jinx going on here tonight. But Caleb Rose was able to defeat all of that, considering all his bad luck, get the overall win, and then Clark Biano getting it done there in GT Daytona was able to undo his jinx and then take it away from Monaco.
Yeah, that's something I didn't even mention out there. Clark Biano went from hero to zero, back to hero in the span of about 5 minutes, which that's just peak NR for you. But yeah, Caleb Rose and Clark Biano III are your winners here. You'll see them in the winner circle, but fantastic race all around, and what a way to ring in the new year. And hey, I cannot wait to do this race once again next year. But that's going to wrap it up here from the Daytona International Speedway. Congratulations once again to Caleb Rose and Clark Biano III for winning the Mike's Hard Lemonade 2.4 Hours of Daytona for GTLM and GT Daytona respectively. And this concludes the January special events here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Stay tuned for the final couple of races for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series, and hey, maybe a mini series over the summer We don't know what's going on here on the North American Sim Racing Network, but we do know that there's a lot of stuff over on Alex's channel. Go check him out, AG the channel or Napa Fan, whichever one you want to type into the search bar. But lots of action here going on in the 20th year of NR2003 and the year of our Lord 2023. I can't believe it's already been 2 decades for this great game. Study hard, get good sleep, eat your vegetables, go to school, insert other great advice here, but most importantly, lads, have a great time. Until next time, I've been Trey Ray from the NASRN. on behalf of Alex, on behalf of Alex Graham, until next time, I've been Trey Wright for the NASRN. Have a good one, folks. We'll see you next time.